coming closer to Jesus before. So can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
It is a Friday edition of Running Points on YSNlive.com. Here, let's switch this so we can put Running Point on there. There we go. Yeah, it was Power Hour, and no, it's not Power Hour. It's Running Point. Yeah, let's make that abundantly clear here.
Yeah, we don't shock our own stomachs on the running point.
Yeah.
Yesterday on Power Hour, DJ and Tristan used a one of those stimulator machines that kind of vibrates your muscles, sends electric shocks through your muscles.
Yeah.
And they put it on their stomach and cranked it to 20.
Why would you do that?
Content.
Alrighty. Yeah, there we go. That's all right.
Fun times.
We have a little bit of content because, I don't know, about 10 minutes ago, the Halloween music theme was being played somewhere, and we all kind of looked at each other and spawned a conversation to which I thought Mike Myers played the dude in the mask.
Like legit, I
did.
No joke. He thought the actor Mike Myers
was playing Michael Myers.
like in Austin Powers, was the guy behind the mask in Halloween playing the killer Michael Myers.
Well, I mean, why it makes sense. But then again, as we discussed, if he's in character for Austin Powers, he pulls the mask off and goes, "Do I make you a killer, baby? Do I?" Or I'm gonna slide you, I'm gonna smash you and cut you up into bits and pieces. Yeah, baby, yeah. Just one of those things. All right, that's. I got nothing with that. I'm so stupid.
Right before we came on the air, we heard the sound of the chainsaw kind of being revved up. So we might not make it through the whole show.
Good times.
Good times.
Hey, by the way, today is the premiere of Full Court Press with Jeff Russell and Brian Higgins, and that show will be heard on and seen on YSN at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Premiere episode. I have no idea what is ever going to come out of the mouths of Russell and Higgins. So, I mean, that's just, the content is going to be borderline hilarious. So no clue what they're going to do.
They released like a snippet, a preview earlier this week, and if that's any indication of how the show's going to be, then you better tune in at 4 because it's going to be very entertaining. And those two are going to be genuinely themselves the whole hour. You're not going to get anything except pure Jeff Russell. So, and that's always fun.
Yeah, he is certainly someone that speaks his mind. I can appreciate that. And much like the MLB Players Association and the owners, we have no idea what's going to happen at 4 o'clock this afternoon with Full Court Press. Premiere episode, tune in. The former head boys basketball coach at McDonald, Jeff Russell, his assistant, Brian Higgins. They are funny guys, and it should be an interesting program from 4 to 5 this afternoon and every Friday afternoon on YSN. That should be fun. I spoke about Major League Baseball just when we thought, okay, it's all about the owners and it's the owners' problem, and this is all on the feet of the owners. And then Wednesday, we thought we had a deal. Rob Manfred thought it was a deal.
Players said,
Tony Clark said, no, this wasn't a deal. We're just really talking. It's kind of like the guy that thinks that he's now dating this woman, and the woman's looking at the guy saying, "No, we're just friends," and this is just stupid. This now is as much deep-seated anger and hatred that I have for the owners. I now have it for the players. You just were given 60 games. Full pay, universal DH, not just for this year, but for next year, universal DH,
extended
playoffs this year and next year, and you had the balls to sit back and say we want more. Screw you. Screw you. I'm now. Both of you can burn in hell for all I care. Both of you can. Y'all are a bunch of sick, greedy pieces of crap. And if baseball doesn't come back this year, I'm good with it. I am so sick and tired of this garbage. And it's what it is. It's garbage.
Now, baseball players came back with, what, like a 65, 66 game schedule or something? Like
70.
They added like 10 games.
Yeah, they added 10 games. As if to say, guys, you know, they want the season to end September 27th, and the players are like, no, we can end the season September 30th. And with the expanded playoffs, let's go into November. No, nobody wants that. That's not what the owners want. The owners want the season to end how it was going to end this year before all the crap happened. And that's Sunday, September the 27th. Have the expanded playoffs, and you're done by the end of October, assuming that we don't get a second bout with COVID. But no, these players are going to be like, no, we're not satisfied with 70. Or we're not satisfied with 60, we want 70. It's just a pox on both of you. You both can go to hell, and I don't care now if baseball starts, because you have now officially lost me for the 2020 season. Screw the both of you. Just get out of here. I'm done with you guys.
You know you made Ron mad when he brings out the British language. A pox on
both of your empires. Be gone!
Be gone.
Yes. It's sickening. Absolutely sickening.
Take a spot of tea with you.
Yeah, take your gloves, take your bats, take your baseballs, and shove them up your ass. It's ridiculous. Seriously, I've had it with both the players and the owners. Screw both of you. That's just ridiculous. You're given an opportunity to play baseball for 60 games. Look, nobody's going to have a 162 game season. Just take what you're going to get. Let's go to Rich. Rich, you're on YSNlive.com. What's going on, Rich?
Good afternoon, young man Ron.
What's
How
up,
are
brother?
you?
What's up?
Chasing the dream, brother. If anybody says they're living a dream, I pray for them, because this is not the final landing spot. I'm still chasing mine.
Well, hey, I think that we all would like to have an eternity dream, but that's another story for another time. What's on your mind, brother?
No, nothing. I was looking at some of your social media. What happened to your bad day on Wednesday? What made it so snafu?
Oh, anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It's just a combination of a lot of things, and then nothing like walking up the driveway and seeing a skunk go across the driveway, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to go anywhere near this house, because the ending of a perfect day is a skunk spraying you. And that's not going to happen, not on my watch. So I'm watching this thing from about 40, 50 feet away, knowing that if he sprays, I'm in the clear. I'm not going to get the horrible. I mean, you'll get the smell, but you're not going to get any of that crap on your clothing.
It depends which way the breeze blows, brother.
Well, there wasn't any breeze that night, thank goodness. So I'm watching from afar, looking at this thing. And once the thing started walking away from the house, then I slowly made my way into the house and slowly opened up the door and it was just a mess. It was an absolute mess.
A guy your size is kind of hard to be stealth, you know?
Well, this is true. I mean, if you saw the 40-yard dash, the stealth and me are not in the same sentence in any way, shape, or form.
That leads me into my next comment. You set me up, thank you. And if he started chasing you, he'd outrun you.
Pretty much. I think a dead squirrel can outrun me. So that. I'm not saying that I'm slow, but sundials are the official timer of Ron Potesta from here on out.
Oh boy. Anyway, all right. You doing anything Sunday? What's the deal on? You calling games? You doing games on Insane or
umpiring?
What's up?
Yeah, umpiring. I got a pair of games on Saturday and a pair of games on Sunday.
What do you got on Saturday? What do you got on Sunday? Where at and what time?
No, all of my umpiring is at Scene. That's
off of Pullen Avenue, right?
No, it's down in Struthers.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know what street it is, but it's next door to Astro Shapes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Because there's a complex up on the right as you pass the one intersection that used to be Sheet and Tube entrance, and then I know the Astro Shapes still. What time are you open?
Late in the afternoon and into the early evening.
Well, that's I don't know if that's good or bad for you, but they're Italian. You don't need sun protection.
Oh, trust me, I do, because I burned big time last week, brother.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You?
Yeah.
You burned?
I did. It's crazy. Yeah, it was not pretty, not pretty at all.
I got. I've been watching on the internet and all this crap going on with the MLB. What a freaking mess, Ron.
Well, look, I mean, they both can just go into their corners, and we don't need baseball this year. It just
pretty much.
The owners gave the players the gift of all gifts, and the players had the gall to sit back and go, "No, we want more. Screw you. Screw the both of you. I don't want the season now."
You know, it's amazing. These guys, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them never had a real job in their life. They've been pampered. They've been promoted. They got through, and I'm not doubting their talents because they're there because there's only so many people that have this level of performance. I get it. But in the meantime, try working in a drive-thru at McDonald's or doing your job.
Well, when they're in the minor leagues, they had off-season jobs because you couldn't afford to not have an off-season job when you're in minor league baseball. You had to have an off-season job. So these guys going through the minor leagues, they did have to have work in the off-season.
Man, that was basket weaving. Come on. And
I mean, you never know who it is, what they did. I can't say that. I don't know what these guys did.
Well, from a bottom feeder, I'm calling it basket weaving. You know, back in the day, I know this is rhetoric, but Mays and Aaron and them guys had to have jobs in the off season to keep their lifestyle afloat.
Of course, because the salaries, I mean, they were okay back then. I mean, they were above average back then, but you needed more to make a living, absolutely.
These guys have no idea. Anyway, I'll be glad to see you on Sunday, and you have yourself a wonderful weekend, my friend.
All right, man, be good. 330-886-0813, the number to call. I just, you know what, if people don't like what I said about Major League Baseball, sorry, but I mean, I'm tired of it. I don't even want to see it. Both of you are grounded. As far as I'm concerned, you're both grounded.
Go to your room.
Go to your collective rooms. You're not even going to have any dinner, and maybe you can come out next year. I'm sick of this. I'm completely sick of this. Both of them suck, and I don't care if baseball comes back this year.
If it does, are you like to the point where you're not even going to pay attention?
I'm not even going to pay attention. It's just I'm so sick and tired of both of these idiots that they're represented by idiots who just have nothing but contempt for the other side. And when the owners decide, hey, you know, we're gonna go 60 games, give them their full salary, and have an expanded postseason, universal DH, not just this year, but for next year. Nah, we want more. You know what? Both of you can get lost. It just bothers me. Now, having said that, could there be a 66-game season? Maybe. I mean, it works if you go 6 games against your other 6 games against the opponents in the other league in your same division. So if you're in the AL Central, you would play the NL Central 6 times each. That's 30 games. 9 times each your own opponents in your own division. That's 36. Works out to 66. So you would play 5 home, 4 away against 2 opponents, 4 home, 5 away against the other 2 opponents. So you would wind up with 33 home games, 33 road games. The only question is, we're running out of time. I mean, if you want the season to end September 27th, you're starting to run out of time here. I don't think you can get 66 games in.
Not if you want to do a full 4-week training camp, spring training type thing. You might have to cut that to 3 weeks, and then even then, let's say a deal happens over the weekend and they get to spring training by Wednesday, which would be the 24th.
I mean, I get the calendar out right now. I mean, at the very least, let's say that they get the deal done today, or they get the deal done over the weekend, and I'll even give them the benefit of the doubt and say let's Tuesday, the 23rd, and let's go 2 weeks. All right, or 3 weeks. You're going to be starting the season somewhere around, let's see, 1, 2, 3. You're going to start the season somewhere around July the, 15th? July the 16th? Okay. If you do that, and you go, let's say, how many days would that be? 3 and 16, 47, 68 days. You're going to try to do 66 games in 68 days? That's impossible.
Nope. Well, you can do 66. I mean,
actually, 66 and 75. My bad.
Yeah, you can do, because the owner's proposal was 60 and 70, I believe.
Yes.
So you can probably pull off 60 and 70, 66 and 75.
So you're given one less day off. The owners don't want any doubleheaders. That was what I was told, that the owners do not want any doubleheaders. Now, if they do have doubleheaders, then you would have day-night, so the owners can pocket the money. Or, well, you don't even have fans, so it doesn't even matter at this point. The owners don't want doubleheaders.
Well, you're going to have, you're going to have a lot of doubleheaders because there's going to be rainouts like no other, and you don't have a lot of time to get these games in. You can't push a game in April. Oh, we'll just replay it in September. We'll be fine. You can't.
And
there's
again,
no doing that.
That's another reason why 66 games is going to be extremely difficult, because you don't know what the weather's going to be like. Mm-hmm. You know, what happens if we get a ridiculous spell of rain? You're pretty much screwed. There's only so much time that you have. And if the owners are adamant that they want to end the season on September 27th, which, by the way, I agree with them. You know, I mean, and if you want to get the expanded playoffs starting on September 29th, best of 3, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, and you do best of 3, you started on the 29th, and play 3 straight games. If you're in the American League, maybe they started on the 28th and the 29th. And if that's the case, then everything is done by October the 1st. In a 3-game series, playing 3 straight days, assuming you get dry weather, maximum drop date would be October the 1st. Okay, that's on a Thursday. So you start the LDS, best of 5. One league starts on the 2nd, the other league starts on the 3rd. Okay. Best of 5 would be done by the drop dead date. If you start on October the 1st, drop dead date would be the 7th. If you start on October the 2nd, drop dead date would be October the 7th, and the other one would be the 6th. And then you start the LCS, October the 8th and 9th, and that's best of 7. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Drop dead date would be October 16th for one of the LCSs, October 17th for the other LCS. World Series begins on a Tuesday, October the 20th. 20th and 21st, 23, 24, 25 is games 3, 4, and 5, 27 and 28. There you go. And then you have 3 days padded for Mother Nature. Okay. But we're running out of time.
Running out of time.
If you want to have 66 games, you better get it done by this weekend. And even then, you don't have enough off days to supplant what Mother Nature is going to do, what she historically does in the summertime in certain areas. So all you needed to do was just say yes to the 60 games. Crazy. Whatever. It bothers me.
It's like that scene in the movie, you're running to the finish line, it goes slow-mo, kind of like your 40-yard dash.
Yeah, kind of like my 40 without the slow-mo.
It starts to go slow-mo, the inspirational music is going, and we think we're going to get a deal, and then the players just kind of trip right at the finish line, and it's, we're going to have to get back up and start it all
Either
over.
that or some clown moves the finish line 40
Right.
yards down the field. Yeah, we move the goalposts 40 yards. It's ridiculous.
You know what it is? It's the players are Lucy pulling the ball out from Charlie Brown. Because we thought we were going to have football, and then the players go whoop, and then
and then
Charlie
Charlie
falls
Brown's
on
going
his-
and then lands on the ground. And then
Yep.
Lucy is,
Yep.
she's
The players are, don't be a Lucy. All right? Players, don't be a Lucy.
Well, they already have.
already are.
They've already pulled the football from the owners. And the hilarious thing is, well, I didn't say we had a deal. I said we had parameters.
The greatest thing is the players were like, just tell us when and where.
Yeah.
And the owners did.
Oh, tell us when and where. We'll do it. Tell us when and where.
The fans
And the owners just told you when and where.
Oh, I don't want that.
Well, I don't want that. I mean, that's not enough. Get the heck out of here. I mean, all you and this reeks of Scott Boras. It just does. It reeks of Scott Boras. And okay, if let me put some truth serum into me. If I had national broadcasting talent, which maybe I do, maybe I don't, whatever. If I had that kind of talent, I'd want Boris to be my agent because he would milk the, owner or whoever I'm negotiating with for every dime the guy has. Guy's insanely talented in what he does. Now, having said that, you have no business with a union. You are not in this union. You represent guys that are in the union, but you got nothing to do with this. You just represent these guys. You are not part of this union, nor is any agent a part of this union. And I said this earlier in the week. I don't care who you are. Manfred, an owner, an agent, a player, a representative from the owners, or a representative of the Players Association. If all of you have an issue with a game of baseball, if all of you are not 100% on board with your career, then get out. Just leave. Because I feel like there are too many people in this circle of stupidity that don't really care about baseball. That they're more concerned with the dollars and the how we can divide this gigantic piece of pie. I got news for you. That gigantic piece of pie is courtesy of people who, frankly, are now running out of patience with you, and they're about ready to turn their backs on this game. So to assume that the fans are going to come back, I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. Don't assume, because I'm this close to telling you to get bent and just be done with it forever. I at this point, the way the players and the owners have conducted their business, anytime, anywhere, we're there. And the owners called their bluff, and the players, they cowered and said, no, we want more. Take your anytime, anywhere, and get lost. Yeah, you're so phony. and two-faced. It's ridiculous at this point.
At this point, I want Bryce Harper to go play for the Eagles. Did you see that tweet he sent out? It was like, "Hey, what's up, Eagles?" Because he was joking about this going and play football.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that guy get hit a couple of times, because that would make my heart happy.
All these guys that sit back. Well, anytime, any place. No, well, players, the owners called your bluff, and you guys sat back and said, "We want more." Well, we now know what's in your guys' mind.
Right.
You know, you don't want to play. You want to play for the right amount of money. And heaven forbid that 60 games at full prorated salaries isn't enough for you guys. That expanded playoffs, meaning more money in your pocket, isn't enough. Take your anytime, anywhere, and get lost, because you don't mean it. You just don't. And I can't stand either side now.
Now
both of you suck.
The players union shut down the deal. What percentage of voting from the actual MLB players did what goes? How many players do you think had to say I don't want that deal for that deal to be shut down? And I'm sure there are players that would have loved that deal and that are sitting back and saying, "What the heck, guys!" Right now.
The other thing that bothers me is
I don't want to blanket all the players into the terrible person analogy.
You never hear about this union voting,
right?
You never hear about that stuff. They all sit back and a few of them run their mouth and say we're all united. Really? Okay. Let me talk to that kid that's making minimum salary right now and see just how united this kid is toward playing the game. Let me talk to some of the kids that are in AAA ball that are on the 40-man roster that could very easily be part of this, because the rosters are going to expand. You think if you put truth serum into a kid that's never been to the major leagues,
right,
that's on the 40-man roster, that's probably going to get the call for his first shot in the major leagues, you think with a straight face this kid's going to sit back and say, "Oh yeah, I'm with my brethren, my union brethren, and we don't want to be paid full prorated pay for 60 games. No, we want more." Get out of here with that crap. Y'all are a bunch of damn hypocrites. That's just screw both. I don't even care now if Major League Baseball plays, and even if it does, who cares?
Back to the point, I wanted to play for the players that don't necessarily agree with shutting down that deal, because I know there are players out there that are like, 60 games, all prorated. That let's go, let's do it. And then the players union is like, no.
And here's the problem with that, Anthony. If they turn their back on the big mouths and all of this, then they're the snakes.
Right.
Then they're going to be treated for the rest of their baseball lives.
Exactly.
They're going to be treated like a union rat, or a snake or something like that.
Yep. And that's the shame.
And it is. It's an absolute shame.
So I'm going to support those guys. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm behind you guys that I know wanted to play, want to be in the game, and can't because the guys that are making the decisions are being boneheads.
The problem is we don't know who those guys are.
But you can have a good idea. We
can assume.
You can assume,
but I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to assume anything at all.
Right.
I would love to see a vote here instead of, well, we reject this. Really? Who rejected this?
Right. That's what
Did you guys even bother to have a vote on this? And if you didn't, shame on Tony Clark. And that you're in a really stupid area where two people get together. And look, I'm not a Rob Manfred fan. I mean, I think people realize this by now. The amount of stuff that I've said about him, which all of it's true. I'm not a fan of Rob Manfred, but I'll give the man all kinds of credit in this particular scenario. He knew he was wrong. So he went to Tony Clark with the full thought, let's get something done here. It's time. Let's get something done here. And you know you're in a really stupid situation when the two people that are talking about this come together on the same page,
And then they're not
then
on
they
the
go
same-
separately, and it's like,
There's a deal. No, there's not a deal.
well, there's not a deal. Oh God, and I'm going to have to pull my man card away when I give this analogy
Uh-oh.
because the movie was on not too long ago. Grease.
Okay, no, dude.
Okay,
It's
Danny
good
and
music.
Sandy.
Right.
Before school starts, Danny and Sandy, lovebirds, 2 kids, madly in love, puppy love, whatever the heck you want to call it.
Give it up. Man card.
Yeah, I know. I gotta give it up. and then they go to Rydell High. Rydell High. Sandy's like, oh, I met the man of my dreams. And the pink ladies are like, well, who is this person?
Tell me more, Ron.
You know.
Tell me
And
more.
No, it's
Tell me
Danny
more.
and Summer loving had me a blast.
Tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more. Tell me more. Yeah.
I am immediately going to go take this section of your show and we're going to play it over and over and over.
Well, you have to do it in the context of what I'm doing here.
Nope, I'm
This
going to
is
take
the
it
analogy.
completely out of context. It might even be my voicemail.
This is the analogy that
You reached the voicemail of DJ Yoakley. Ron Podesta, summer loving, having a blast.
So Danny is playing the part of Tony Clark, and Sandy's playing the part of Rob Manfred, and these 2 lovebirds before school starts, and then Sandy, of course, she has no idea where she's going to school, winds up in Rydell. Lo and behold, here's Danny, and they meet. And Danny's like, yeah, well, acting like a complete a-hole. That is essentially what's going on here. Grease is the word. It's just, I know. The analogy
Wonderful Friday.
The analogy just got me to where now I'm going to be on DJ's answering service.
You gave some good content, Ron. That's good.
Well, look, I mean, that's if there's anything else, if nothing else, I'm all about getting good content. It's craziness. Let's talk about something that matters. How about high school? Contact sports can resume practice this coming Monday.
Yep. And
Fingers crossed on this.
that's good news for not just football, but let's see, basketball can start to be a little bit more, friendly with what they want to do in the summers, and soccer can start to work on stuff, and probably volleyball too. I know it's not like necessarily a contact sport, but it's close together because you got people on both sides of the net that are a foot apart. So maybe that'll be good news for volleyball as
Maybe
well.
they could invent a net that has the virus just stuck
Right.
on it.
Like
So there's no see-through.
what they'll
anything.
do, and I would. This is gonna happen. The nets are gonna be saran wrapped, so
There you go.
there's no gaps in the net.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Maybe
that's
put
probably,
some Reynolds wrap.
Right, that's probably gonna happen.
You know?
The nets are probably gonna be like an old person's couch, just wrapped in the.
Like you're sitting on it and you hear the crumpling sound of the whatever the couch has been. Yeah. It's new. Yeah, it really is. Take this crap off so
Right.
we can enjoy the couch here. What are you, a germphobe?
I just got it reupholstered.
Good Lord. Lovey, I just got my sofa reupholstered. Craziness. Yeah, I could see the net just being saran wrapped or whatever. Look, look, at the end of the day, we've talked about this, and I still have my doubts whether we're going to see football. I hate to say it. I don't want to be the Dr. Fauci cold water to the face to anyone, but look, I'm not the only one. Kirk Herbstreit early on said we're not going to have football. And when Herbstreit said it, it's people wanted to go at him with pitches and forks.
Yeah, remember people like Kirk and the people like Dr. Fauci, they got to keep it kind of like the the narrative. Like they're gonna be super careful, and they have to kind of. If someone on ESPN or whatever came out and said, "Let's just go play," well, there would be a riot because that's just not that's just not the national narrative right now.
I mean, you could call it narrative.
So-
I mean, I still think it's truth.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
still
yeah.
there.
But the every chart I've seen, at least, we're starting to beat this thing, and I feel like we can't be paralyzed by if there's a second wave or there could be a second wave. We can't be paralyzed by fear with that. We have to just go and roll with the punches, and if it happens, we'll deal with it. And that's what I think Roger Goodell is doing a really good job of. We talked about it on Wednesday. He's saying we're not going to stop people from testing positive. We're more focused on reacting to that, setting up protocols for when that happens, how to get them, back to football as quick as possible.
But the only problem with that is now you got to go into the trust factor. And someone brought this up while I was driving in, and I think it was Paul Feinbaum because he was on Dan Patrick's show. Because I love listening to national talk, whether it be sports or whatever. And he brought up a really interesting point. Okay, let's say big rivalry game: Bama, Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, SC. And your star player tests positive. You're really going to sit back and say, hey, my guy just tested positive. He's going to be quarantined. And maybe this is the cynic in me.
Well, I imagine they'll be tested by people from outside the team. That way, if someone tests positive, the team can't just be like, "Let's just sweep that right under the rug."
Yeah, that's
Just like concussion protocol. I mean, you can't get around a concussion nowadays. You can't hide a concussion anymore.
It's been done.
Recently?
It has been done.
Okay, you can't hide a serious concussion.
Yeah.
There have been those type 1 concussions.
And I don't want to call out any names.
Call them out, Ron.
But I wouldn't put it past any big-time major college coach to sit back and go, okay, you tested positive, but we're not going to say anything. And you're just going to you're going to play, and we're not going to go through protocol because this is a game that we need to have. There is not one single major college coach in college football that I can comfortably say without any hesitation that person wouldn't pull that if he had the opportunity to. That's sad, but it's true.
Not even your boy at Notre Dame?
No, hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no. Oh, absolutely not.
What,
Brian Kelly wouldn't do that.
Are you saying people that work for a Catholic school aren't always upstanding people?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No,
Brian Kelly, come on.
I'm sorry.
No, he would do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely would. And I don't think there's any major college football coach that would honestly sit back and go, well, this is the biggest game of the year. Yeah, I guess we're not going to have you play. Oh, stop that. Of course they're going to play. I mean, maybe I'm jaded. I don't know, but I feel like there isn't one big-time college coach that I can sit back and say he would do the right thing.
I think the answer to that conundrum is going to be how serious we're taking COVID-19 at the point of football season.
Absolutely.
Because, right now we're taking it super seriously, but if we start to loosen the reins by September or August, it's going to be like, comparable to, you sprained your ankle, you'll be fine. But if it's, right now it's comparable to, you broke something, you're going to be down for 2 to 3 weeks,
Yeah, and let's be honest about something. I'm not gonna speak out of turn or go out of bounds with anything, but let's be honest. The guy gets an injury to where he's in all kinds of pain, he gets shot up.
Yeah, if it's not like a bone break
if it's not something really, 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 and sometimes it could be, and the coach would sit back and give the player the option, and of course the player, he wants to go through the brick wall for the coach. He's going to take the needle. He's going to take the shot. He's going to feel no pain. That's the one thing with COVID. You can't take a shot. We don't have a vaccine for this. So if you have a kid that tests positive during football season, it's not like you can say, hey, here's a shot of whatever, and you can play the game. We've dulled the COVID. We don't have that. We don't have a vaccine. So are you going to put the result of a game higher than the possibility, albeit a small chance, but the possibility of putting this guy in the game and having a full-fledged outbreak? That's a scary thought.
You know, he tests positive on Monday. You keep him away from the team for as long as you can, and probably play him on Saturday.
Yeah, play him on Saturday.
You know?
I mean, I could just see someone going, yeah, the guy tested positive on Monday, but we've kept him away for the whole week.
Keep him away. People are going to notice that you're keeping him away from practice.
Well, but you can sit back and make up a story about that.
But
I mean, that's done all the time.
People know that COVID's a thing, so they're going to be like, hey, is this guy sick? No, of course not.
No, he just, we were sitting him down. He's got some aches and pains, but he's going to be ready for the big rivalry game. Okay. That doesn't sound very sportish. Not to mention the fact it's kind of dangerous.
The good thing about those rivalry games is they go at the end of the season, most of them. So,
True.
By then, if football makes it that far, I think we'll have everything kind of figured out on what we're doing with that.
I hope so. I mean, I hope so. But here we are. We all sat back in March and said, oh, hey, football had all kinds of time. We don't have all kinds of time now. I mean, think about this. It's June the 19th. We're 1 month away from training camps opening up in football, in the National Football League. We're 1 month away from that. We really don't have a whole lot of time now. And if the season were to start today, I wouldn't be comfortable with it because you still have outbreaks in different areas. But I mean, hopefully we can play. Hopefully we can play. But contact sports can resume practice this coming Monday, and it's good news for all of the high school kids. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we have a full season this year.
Especially at the college level, because like we've said, no college football equals a lot of cuts to those non-revenue sports, and that would just be a shame to see for all the athletes that put in exactly the amount of work that football players do. They do the whole time management thing. They go to classes like the football players do, and they'd be cut because they're not making money.
Yeah, it would be an absolute shame. It would be an absolute shame if we didn't have football. Monetarily, it would ruin a number of sports programs throughout the land in college sports. Not to mention the fact if we don't have football, college, or the NFL, boy, the psyche of our country, oof, that would really, really hurt. I mean, baseball fans, and we're not as big a fandom as it used to be, and there's baseball fans that are really just losing their minds because we don't have baseball right now. I mean, we should be in the middle of the 2020 season. We should be at least
close to the All-Star break,
65 games into the season, if not more. I haven't, because Stratomatic has decided to do the 2020 season. And I haven't.
You talked about it when the Indians got off to a good
start.
start.
Yeah, they had gotten off to a really good start, and so did Tampa Bay. And I hadn't looked at the latest from the baseball simulation, and let me see if that's up. And so far, it isn't. So hopefully we can get those numbers. I mean, it's really interesting how they do that. We're going to be talking local stuff. We're also going to be talking about the Belmont at 2:15. A friend of mine down in Jackson, he is going to handicap the Belmont Stakes. This is a race that is normally the last leg of the Triple Crown, and it's normally 1.5 miles they've moved the race from 1.5 miles to 1.125 miles. So it's
And it's
a
no longer
lot. It's a lot shorter.
It's no longer the last leg anymore.
It's now the first leg, which is the reason why they moved it from 1.5 miles to 1.125 miles. So the last leg, which is the Kentucky Derby, would have the longest way to go for the horses. 10 horse field on Saturday, and we'll handicap the race with my buddy Seabass coming up at 2:15. We'll have some fun with that because there's an overwhelming favorite in this race, and we'll see if he gets all of the love from our handicapper at 2:15. Just a reminder, coming up at 4 o'clock this afternoon, Jeff Brazil and Brian Higgins with Full Court Press. They gave us a preview of the show, and yeah, Jeff Brazil and Brian Higgins are hilarious, and they love to have their opinion, and they're not afraid to share it.
How about the digs in their studio too? It's like a sports memorabilia and movie collection nerds dream thing. I mean, Jeff Brazil has Darth Vader right behind him, which is awesome. And then Brian Higgins had a couple of jerseys and frames behind him, and it's a wonderful kind of nostalgia-like look to their studio, which is basement.
Yeah, well, it's down in the basement, and Full Court Press is premiering this afternoon at 4 p.m. on ysnlive.com. All right, let's take a timeout. Open up the phone lines, 330-886-0813. What is your take? If you're a baseball fan, are you with me on this? Now I'm officially sick and tired of both sides, because we thought on Wednesday we were going to have a 60-game agreement and everything was going to be okay, and the players said, no, we want more. I just epoxed to both of them. I don't even care now if the season starts. It just come back and see me in 2021. I don't care. Now, of course, when the season starts,
That tune might change a little.
I'll start watching, but I'm tired of all of this.
Especially if the Indians start doing well. I think you might be peeking up a little bit.
I'll be like the hedgehog. What's that game where the
Sonic?
Yeah, where the animal comes up, the whack-a-mole.
Oh.
Yeah, where the animal comes up, looks around, and then gets whacked over the head. Yeah, that's the fans looking up, going around, looking to see if there's anything going on, and some jabroni named Manfred is whacking you over the head. Manfred and Tony Clark are collectively holding this sledgehammer, and they're whacking the fans over the head, saying, not right now. We'll do this at any minute. Oh, yeah, okay.
We need to make a graphic of Ron's head popping up of a whack-a-mole thing, and then
just make sure that the hole is extremely large. Otherwise, you're not going to see this go up and down anywhere. All right, 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. It's a Friday edition of Running Point.
it gets stuck.
Yeah, it gets stuck, and I asphyxiate myself. That's great. That's a wonderful thought, Anthony. Good Lord, I thought we were friends.
I didn't take it to strangulation. You did. I just.
Oh, I mean, you're just saying it's stuck. That means I was getting strangled. Why don't you just?
No, your head can get stuck without cutting off the airflow. It's stuck in there. You can't really.
Yeah, and you can't do anything.
No.
So you're just looking around and.
What is store chips?
And then you're going to throw chips and tomatoes and all kinds of other stuff. It'll be like Foghorn Leghorn's head is stuck, and the chicken hawk is going to start beating the crap out of him.
Remark, sir.
That boy, I said, that boy is pixelated. All right, 330-886-0813. Back in a bed. Stick around.
21
Good evening,
News.
and thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to our top
More
story
experienced reporters
tonight. A new Wilmington
At
restaurant.
GM Lordstown,
telling more local stories
We'll look at
baby
efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
around our
Good
valley
Community in
afternoon.
Niles,
We are
one
here in
Canyon Valley
Youngstown, right
business.
because you expect
important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier.
with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
It is a Friday edition, an open line Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you, alongside Anthony Hardwig. I would be very remiss if I did not say, before we get to Champ, 4 years ago, happiest day for a Cleveland sports fan. 4 years ago tonight, the Cleveland Cavaliers came back from a 3-1 deficit and knocked off the Golden State Warriors to win the 2015-2016 NBA championship. I was at Quicken Loans Arena when that happened, and the scene in Cleveland was just absolutely crazy. It was so much fun and so much electricity up there.
It's also a great call by the who called that game for ABC.
Well, that was Mike Breen.
Mike Breen. Oh yeah, great call.
Yeah.
On the last couple minutes of that game.
And lost in it, if you're a Cleveland fan, the late, great Fred McLeod with an unbelievable call of his own. He and Austin Carr were at Quicken Loans Arena broadcasting for the fans inside Quicken Loans Arena. And it was just, it was a magical night. It really was. And it was a lot of fun being inside Quicken Loans Arena. And then once you got outside, the celebration and everyone was
that got nuts.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I wanted to spend the entire night in Cleveland, but I finally was able to get out of there and get home by around 3 o'clock. It didn't matter. I had so much fun that night in Cleveland. It was a good time.
I think I saw a guy climb up a scaffolding and then just jump off for no. I mean,
yeah, it was, and people were. People just didn't know how to celebrate because it'd been 51 years since.
What do we do?
Yeah. What exactly do we do here?
Let's tip a car.
Fortunately, they didn't do that. Kudos to the fans for not being stupid.
Right.
Let's go to Champ. Champ,
they did jump off the scaffolding.
He did go off the scaffolding, but then again, in Orchard Park, you have guys going through tables in the Bills tailgating.
Mafia.
Bills Mafia is crazy. Champ, what's on your mind, brother?
Well, before I get into my sports topic, I think it would be important to mention I wish Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And my father is no longer with us, but he's the reason why I am today, because of him and my mother. But I just wanted to do that. All
there
the
you go.
Individuals out there, Happy Father's Day to everyone out there, and hope you have a good weekend, because you deserve it. You damn well deserve it.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And unfortunately, thank God every day that my father is still alive, and I still get every words of wisdom from him whenever he decides to give me words of wisdom.
Yeah, and it's important that we all respect the ones that we still have, because you just never know.
True.
Life is so precious, and it can be taken away so quickly. But anyways, back to the Cavs, you know what, and I'm being a Warriors fan also, you know that. I was happy for the city of Cleveland, LeBron James, they won that championship, and without that championship, I don't think Kevin Durant ever comes to the Warriors, who would have a 2-year run, which I would put that team against almost any team, with Durant and a healthy team. That Warrior team for the last 2 years with Durant against the Cavs was a great team, and it's unfortunate because I think the Cavs, without the Warriors, could have very easily have won 4 straight NBA championships. That's how good they were, but unfortunately they went up against a juggernaut that played a style of basketball that we hadn't seen for a while. But once Durant joined the Warriors, that's because they obviously didn't have anyone for LeBron James to cover him and also put a little pressure on him when he's on the defensive side of the ball. And Durant was really the only guy at that time that I thought was the obvious choice to bring in. The Warriors went after him literally minutes after they lost to the Cavs.
Well, the other thing that I would have loved to have seen, all right, the Warriors, they get Kevin Durant. I would have loved to have seen Kyrie stay in Cleveland and see if the Cavaliers could have done something because, Kyrie Irving torched Curry, Thompson, whoever guarded him. He torched them. And he was a great equalizer in the backcourt, and I just would have loved an opportunity to have seen what Kyrie could have done had he stayed in Cleveland.
Yeah, when you have 2 guards like the Warriors had, the best remedy so much is not to get someone who defensively could guard them, but get someone offensively that they have to guard. And that was the problem with Kyrie Irving. He was literally unstoppable, and I'm still scratching my head on what's in his mind sometimes, why he left that situation. And and obviously, he didn't. I don't know what it was. He wanted to have his own team or whatever. But for whatever reason, it's a shame because I think the Cavs could have given them a good series the last 2 years against the Durant-led Warrior team with Curry and the other bandits on that squad. But it wasn't to be. Kyrie didn't want to stay there for whatever reason.
Hey, breaking news coming out of Major League Baseball. 5 members of the Philadelphia Phillies, they are unidentified as of right now. But 5 members of the Philadelphia Phillies just tested positive for coronavirus. Look, at the end of the day, we can all sit back and start talking about the stupidity on the Players Association for not taking the owner's deal, but coronavirus is still very much alive and well, and we're all assuming that things would be okay once baseball gets its head out of its collective backside, but this is just another reminder that we are in the COVID-19 world, and until we get a vaccine, you can expect a little bit more of this.
Yeah, and Anthony, I wish I could agree with you because I would love to see us to the point where we have this thing kicked and we're over it, but we're not, and we may just be at the beginning. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that practice social distancing and wear masks, but there's a lot that don't, and I'm curious to find out what happens in Arkansas and Tulsa. If you want to really see about a group of people that really don't care about, they'll consider this a major problem. Just tune in to Tulsa tomorrow, and I think we'll see the truth on that one. But it's just I'm just afraid of when we get into flu season. But it's just we just don't have it under control, and unfortunately, I keep talking about this. Football, it's going to be a lot of very difficult situations to play football. I think baseball could do it, but obviously they're not. This is not going to help baseball at all because I think eventually the athletes, especially in the sport of baseball, are going to say, you know what, maybe we should just not play because of the virus. I mean, that's a consideration. That's the sad part of this. We're going through all those negotiations back and forth, and like you, Ron, I'm sick and tired of it. But they even got to the most important part of this thing is how these players are going to be able to be safe and play this game. And these players go home to their families. They have individuals in their families, whether it's their parents or grandparents or friends. It's just something that we're going to have to deal with, and I don't know how long it's going to be. We don't know how long until they get a vaccine and how long that's going to take. It's just there's a lot of question marks right now, and it is what it is, and I just don't see football at this point. I think they're going to try to start. I give them credit. But the good thing about football, we're going to get this all this practices in. The colleges are going to be out there practicing and having contact. We're going to see a lot of better prediction on what can happen because, if this player gets sick, then this player gets sick. Granted, a lot of these players, most of the people that get this virus survive. But that's not the point. The point is that the infection rate and how many people you got to quarantine, it could be very disruptive. We talked about Notre Dame and the Navy play a game, and if the Navy linebacker comes down with it, guess what? The season's over. That's what, in my opinion, you got. There eventually comes a point when you get maybe 2 or 3 that infect the whole team. It's over. We're done. College football is finished. That's how quickly this thing could end before we even get started.
And I brought this up in the first hour, since we're now at the top of the hour. Now it's 1 o'clock. I brought this up in the 12 o'clock hour. Look, I mean, I'm not going to say that this doesn't exist, because it does. Guys get a serious injury, but they don't want to leave the game, so they go into the locker room. They get shot up. You're not going to get shot up when you get COVID. I mean, it's not like you can. It's not like you can get a pain needle, a needle filled with the good drugs that's going to make you pain free. That's not what COVID is. We don't have a vaccine for this. So if someone has COVID, unless you're going to be stupid enough, and there's a lot of college coaches that would be stupid enough to do this, stupid enough to sit back and say, you know what, it's still our biggest game of the year, and even though you tested positive, I want you to still play the game. There's plenty of coaches that would do that if they were guaranteed that they wouldn't be caught. There'd be a lot of coaches that would be stupid enough to do that.
Keep in mind the big distinction between the two is an injury is not contagious.
No, exactly. An injury isn't contagious. I mean, if you blow your knee out, it's not like you're gonna be 2 feet away. Your bad knee is gonna be 2 feet away from someone else's knee, and they're gonna be like, "Ooh, get that away from me! I don't want to have a torn ACL." And it's not contagious.
Yeah, and I think Monday morning, when we usually talk about the games on Monday morning, the Monday morning quarterbacks, we're going to be talking about, who's infected and who got sick. This guy, and I know golf did the same thing. They kept saying throughout, so far so good, and cross your fingers, because golf is working right now. And if it's going to be golf is the only game in town right now, I'll take it. Believe me, I'll take it. I was watching axe throwing the other day and the cornhole championships the other day. Are you kidding me? I mean, oh boy, it's getting frustrated.
Hey, I got news for you. That cornhole championship was a repeat. I could have told you who won it. I'm just saying.
Really? Well,
I'm just saying.
Don't tell me, because I taped it. Don't tell me I taped it. And I was practicing in my backyard axe throwing. I'm not very good, so my neighbor maybe put it away. He didn't feel safe.
Hey, speaking of golf, second round of the RBC Heritage. Anthony, I'll give you one guess who's winning this tournament.
Is it my
Webb Simpson?
Yeah, Webb Simpson. Your pick last week is winning this tournament. There you go.
Webb, you're welcome, because I didn't pick you this year.
There you go. Well, now the guy that you did pick,
it's like 3 back, right?
You and Brian Tolnar picked DeChambeau. He is 1 shot back.
Yeah, there you go.
He's 7 under. Just finished the second round. 7 under. He's 11 under for the tournament. He is 1 shot behind Webb Simpson. Jason Kokrak is yet to golf. He is 2 under after 1 round. He is yet to golf.
Got some work to do.
He has some work to do. My boy Justin Thomas is not going to make the cut, it would appear.
Ooh. Well, now it's your turn.
No, actually, I take that back. He went 5 under today, and he was 1 over the first round. He went 5 under today. He's 4 under in the clubhouse after 2 rounds. He is going to make the cut, because the cut line as of right now is -3. So Kokrak has work to do. He's 2 under after 1 round. He needs to be at least 1 under to make the list.
Well, I'm going to sign up. I appreciate you guys, by the way, this show. It's excellent, YSN. Great job. You guys do a fine job. It's something to listen to, and I do appreciate you guys being on at least 3 times a week. I would like to see you on 5 days a week, but I don't make the call on that. So, anyways.
Well, that might be coming soon. If we get full throttle, full steam ahead on sports, it'll be coming soon.
All right, well, have a nice weekend, and happy Father's Day to everyone out there.
All right, happy Father's Day, champ. And there we go. All right, let's see if we can get more phone calls at 330-886-0813. We only have 1 line, so if it's busy, you wait until caller is done, and then you give us a call. We don't have call waiting.
We don't have call waiting.
And we don't have the party line. You're too young to remember the party line. Yeah, the party line used to be, calls would be intercepted and you would be hearing someone else, and you'd be hearing their conversation, and they would be hearing your conversation, and that was the party line. Yeah. And way back in the day, and I vaguely remember this as a kid, we didn't have numbers, you had letters. Hazel 1 would be 421. You did the first two letters of the word would be your phone digits. So H goes into 4. You know how the letters are associated with the numbers? The letters are associated with the numbers based on how they used to do this back in the day. So 421 would be HA, and then they just made a word from HA, they said Hazel. So Hazel 1, and then your last 4 digits. Yeah, craziness. I don't know how people lived like that. Hey, what's your number? Hazel 17866, which, by the way, is Joe Ziskin. What was it? They were a Pirates sponsor back in the day. They had a theme song for this company. No money will be risking when you call Joe Ziskin. He was a waterproof, downspout and waterproof guy, and they would sing "No money will be risking when you call Joe Ziskin." So do this. So call this number and do it quick. Hazel 17866. So Hazel 17866 was 421-7866.
Those dang commercial jingles, man.
Oh, it just I used to drive my mom nuts.
I'm not gonna do the J.G. Wentworth. Get that stuck.
Please
in my head
no.
again.
Yeah, that song is so irritating. It's ridiculous, but it's catchy.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why it was such a popular commercial.
Yep.
Yeah, the opera, the whole opera theme where everyone's on a bus and they're doing that J.G. Wentworth commercial.
Don't start.
No. When I was and I'm talking 5-6 years old, the power of television and the power of commercials. So, in the late 60s, early 70s, TV was, it's still pretty huge. And you're watching way too much TV when, as a kid, I'm going grocery shopping with my mom. And my mom would pick up a product, and I would immediately go into the commercial. And she at one point said, "I couldn't take you grocery shopping anymore. It's just you were a comedy act. I'd pick up Charmin, and you would be Mr. Whipple. You'd be Mr. Whipple going, 'Please don't squeeze the Charmin.'" And people would be just like laughing their butts off, in their carts, taking, doing their grocery shopping at Kroger or whatever store we used to have, and I would be this, I'd be doing all of the catchphrases and whatnot from all of the products. It's just it was. My mom got to the point where she was like, "Yeah, you're staying home.
You're staying home.
You're staying home. I can't do this." 330-886-0813. That is the number to call as we are with you till 3 o'clock. And again, breaking news coming out of Major League Baseball where 5 players, unidentified players, but 5 players from the Philadelphia Phillies have tested positive for COVID-19. And in as much as we can sit back and say, Rob Manfred and Tony Clark, both of you are just ruining this game. Another shot of reality.
5 players and also 3 staff members, by the way. So
8 people in the organization. Ugh. It's yet another reminder that even if we get the season started, what do you do?
It's in Clearwater, in their facility at Clearwater, which Florida isn't exactly a safe zone right now. So.
Well, no, but it's anyone can get this. Right. We're still in that area where you don't have a vaccine. Anyone can get this, and at any time, if someone in Major League Baseball gets it, you pull the plug on him, and then you got to test everyone, and then you pull the plug on kids that are positive, and if you're not positive, I mean, this happened with my cousin who works in a healthcare facility. Someone tested positive. Well, everyone was sent home. Look, I mean, we have no idea if you're going to be positive or not. Everyone's got to take a test. Now, fortunately, cousin wound up testing negative for this. But, again, with no vaccine, I understand why everyone is the way they are with this.
But let's not, once again, not doctors, but let's not pretend that a vaccine is like a huge blanket that's going to make us never ever get COVID-19.
No, but
it helps.
It helps tremendously.
It's a bubble. But I mean, there's a flu vaccine, and a lot of people still get the flu
because they don't necessarily take the vaccine.
I just don't want people to confuse vaccine for cure, because there's no cure for a virus. There's no cure for the common cold. I mean, you get it. There's just a vaccine, which means you're less likely to get it. But there's no cure for it. It's not a bacterial infection where you just pump yourself full of antibiotics and you're cured. You get it. You know what I'm saying?
And hopefully, if you get it, you're healthy enough to where you're going to be able to fight this off. Your own bacteria is going to be able to fight this off. And if you're healthy, then great. Unfortunately, this attacks and kills predominantly older people that are not in good health, which is probably the reason why I'm scared to death of this, because I'm overweight. Went to the doctor today, and the doctor said, hey, what are you doing? And I told him, I said, well, I'm walking 2 to 3 miles a day. And he said, good. He says, continue doing that, but you are still overweight. You got to work on that. Yep. Now then again, with the fact that I have such a horrible pain in the back of my mouth from stuff that has gone on the last couple of days, food is the last thing on my mind. Even though I want to have some food, I can't exactly eat a steak right now because it would flare up all kinds of things. I got to have soft food, so I'll eat a lot of fruits and veggies.
Pears, they're pretty soft.
Strawberries, applesauce.
Yep. Pudding.
Pudding, absolutely.
Give me my pudding.
Yeah. You can't have any meat if you don't eat your pudding.
Right.
Or no, you can't have pudding if you don't eat your meat. I just quoted Pink Floyd wrong. Horrible.
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you misquote Pink Floyd like that? That's terrible. And I'm a huge fan of Another Brick in the Wall. Part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2. Has to be part 2.
No, but yes, you're right. But I think the numbers that we really pay attention to right now are hospitalizations are way down, and so are death rates way down. So, I mean, we said it. There's going to be a spike because people have been quarantined, but the positive note of this summer so far is that we're seeing the hospitalization numbers go down, and we're seeing the death numbers go down. And those are the two numbers that we really need to avoid. So...
yeah, and there
Stay
are
positive,
areas.
guys. Stay positive.
Yeah, and there are areas where it's gotten a whole lot better. Yeah. There really is. But there are also areas that have seen a spike. Now, a lot of people will sit back and say, well, there's more tests available, so you are going to see a spike because with more tests, more...
But not a spike in hospital cases.
Exactly.
So that's that.
And that is huge.
Yes.
That is a very huge part of what is going on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully we get through all of this. And the encouraging sign again is contact sports for the OHSAA and the scholastic sports. They can resume practice this coming Monday, and that's big. That's big. It's hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get through a football season without any outbreak or anything of that nature. Because, well, the sports fans, we need this. I'll be honest with you. I have not been too happy the last few months because we don't have baseball. I mean, for me, that's the security blanket of knowing between late March, early April, and the end of October, my favorite sport is around. And that's been that way every year that I've been on planet Earth, which is coming up on 56 years. And there's only one period of time where I didn't see a World Series, and that was in '94. Thanks a lot, Bud Selig. And I've never seen a complete season where it's shut down. Part of me wants to have baseball, but now a part of me, and I've lashed out this last hour, and I still feel this way. A lot of me feels this way. I don't want to see baseball. Yeah, the kid in me, then I still have a kid in me. I still have that mentality where you want to, you want to have your favorite stuff, but I'm to the point, Anthony, where both sides on Wednesday just annoyed the crap out of me. Manfred actually had an olive branch, and the Players Associations trampled on it and said, nah, we want more. And then they turned around and said, well, that wasn't a deal. That was just negotiation. Come on. We're better than this. Horrible. Just horrible.
Horrible.
Horrible. Horrible. All right, NCAA basketball teams can head back to the gym on July the 20th, and that's good news. Hopefully we'll
news
have
for
basketball.
YSU because they have some good basketball coming up.
Well, and the other thing that we really haven't talked that much about, Darius Quisenberry is going to make a decision in the next week or two whether to stay the course and be in the NBA draft or go back to college. Now, look, I have been accused, rightfully so, of speaking my mind, and I do.
No.
I don't have a problem doing it, and I'm going to speak my mind right now. And it might offend those that are fans of Darius Quisenberry, but I say this not with malice. I say this because I'm a huge fan of Darius Quisenberry, and I want to see this young man get to that level. If Darius Quisenberry were in your chair, Anthony, I wouldn't sugarcoat this. I would simply say, Darius, you have no business. Absolutely no business in the NBA draft. You're not that good. You're not ready. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be ready, but right now, the Darius Quisenberry that I saw sophomore year at Youngstown State, you're not even close to being ready. Not even close. If you took your game to the NBA, Darius Quisenberry's game right now to the NBA, he would get carved up in a million pieces. I don't think there's a general manager in the National Basketball Association that would look at him and say with a straight face, you can play NBA basketball. You are nowhere near NBA talent right now. That does not mean Darius Quisenberry doesn't have an NBA future. I believe he does. I do. I believe Darius Quisenberry could be an NBA player and ultimately will be an NBA player. He ain't ready right now. He needs to come back to Youngstown State, and not just his junior year. He needs to play 2 more years at Youngstown State University, and he needs to ball out these final 2 years to show everyone by the time he's done at YSU, okay, now my game is good enough to go to the NBA and be an NBA player.
Yeah, and I totally agree, but the problem is if I'm Darius, there's someone here, and behind me saying that that's full of it, and I am a star, and I'm ready right now. It's that inner circle. We talked about it when this news first broke. That inner circle gassing him up, filling in that thought that he's ready for the NBA right now. That's the problem. I mean, you need to change your inner circle, the people that will tell you the straight up truth, and help you in the long run.
See, the problem with, and I don't want to say all professional athletes, but there's a lot of them. A lot of them have an inner circle in which there's a bunch of hype people.
Yep.
And they're yes men.
You need about one hype man, but then you also need someone that can tell you straight.
You need someone to tell you the truth.
You need both.
You need someone that's going to tell it like it is, and you need someone that's going to sit back and say, hey, look, you're a fantastic player on this level.
Right.
Now, again, no disrespect to anyone in the Horizon League. Horizon League's a fantastic mid-major league.
Not the NBA.
It ain't the NBA.
Not even close.
It's not even close to being in the NBA. Not even close. The best player to come out of the Horizon League in my lifetime was Bryce Drew. Bryce Drew was a blip on the screen in the NBA. He didn't have much of an NBA career. Who was the kid that came out of Oakland? Felger? The kid that was about 5'8", 5'9", played in Cleveland for a little bit. He was the biggest thing since sliced bread 5 years ago in the NBA. Or 5 years ago in the Horizon. He didn't have an NBA career. His NBA career was a cup of coffee. If I were close enough to Darius Quisenberry to where I can talk with him, I would sit back and have that conversation and say, look, DQ, 2 years from now, if you stay at Youngstown State, you have a much better chance at achieving your ultimate goal. But if you were to leave right now, 2 years into your college basketball career, and by the way, his sophomore year, good in some spots, not so good in other spots. He has a lot of growing up to do in his game. Like, again, I want to preface this.
I always thought he was turnover prone last year.
Thank you. He was. I want to preface this. Darius Quisenberry can be an NBA player. Absolutely can be an NBA player. And I truly believe that he will be an NBA player. Now, I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but I think that there is a seat at the table for Darius Quisenberry to be a solid NBA veteran. But not now. His game is nowhere near ready to be in the NBA. And I wouldn't look, if you had your choice between 2 more years of college basketball in a mid-major or the G League, no disrespect to the G League, they're not paying you a ridiculous amount of money. Stay in college and just play at YSU and do your thing. Be a superstar the final 2 years in the Horizon League. And I'm almost positive that if he rounds his game to the point where it's now solid every facet of the game, he'll get a shot in the NBA. I truly believe he will. But he's not ready right now. And Anthony, to your point, you're 1,000,000% right on this. There are so many guys that are wanting to be pro athletes or just starting their pro career that have the inner circle, that have a bunch of yes men, a bunch of suck ups. You don't need that. You need someone that's going to be brutally honest with you.
You need both to keep you even keeled, because you need
Absolutely.
a guy that when you're down low and it's those low days. You need the guys that
You're going to need the hype guys for that.
But then when you're feeling yourself a little bit, you need the guys that will take you back down a couple notches and tell you how it is too.
Exactly.
So, because you got to stay even keel. I mean, in baseball especially, you can't ever get too low, you can't ever get too high. You got to stay right in that midline.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And baseball is a game where you fail 7 out of 10 times, and you can be in Cooperstown.
If you're good.
You can go to Cooperstown if you fail 7 out of 10 times. Where do I sign up? Well, it's a little bit harder than that. The average person is not going to be failing 7 out of 10 times. The average person is going to probably fail about 7.5 times.
And even as a career, if you go 7 out of 10 times, you're probably going to have a year or a couple months where you go 1 out of 10 times, and you're in it. You're just, oh, geez,
it's a mental game.
I can't hit anything.
Yeah, I mean that's another reason for the minor leagues. And I know a lot of people sit back and say, "Oh, we don't need all the facets of minor league baseball." It's, to a degree, I get the argument, but I don't agree completely. Yeah, you can get rid of rookie ball, but you still need to have the stages of minor league baseball that you need to go through, because it's a mental game. It is a really tough day-to-day mental grind, and there is no other game that puts day-to-day mental grind to the test like baseball.
And that's going to be really, if they have a season this year, that's going to be really interesting to see who handles it, because instead of a grind, it's going to be a mental sprint. And you can't afford to have 3 weeks be a slump, because all of a sudden that's half your season you're in a slump. So it's going to be really fun to see who handles the sprint instead of the marathon.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that we have a season, which is a pretty big assumption. Assuming we have a season, it's going to be it's going to be a sprint. It's not a marathon anymore.
I still want to put my Royal stuff on and root for the Royals every day, so I'm hoping for a season.
Well, I mean, again, I'm
someone,
angry.
I'm angry too. I'm just someone that can put that away and just root for my team. I want to root for my team. I want to be a fan again. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been a fan in months.
I know. I hear you.
I feel like I haven't rooted for anything since the Super Bowl. Right? Like I haven't had those.
That's true.
Right?
And in your case, I mean, at least you had a Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay, and I'll be honest. I mean, we have the Steelers, we have the Browns. Neither team went to the playoffs. My Bills went to the playoffs. Okay, one and done. But they had an extra week. All right, they had an extra week, so I had an extra week of rooting for my beloved Bills. You had a season to remember.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it doesn't get any better than going to the Super Bowl and actually winning the Super Bowl. It's fun going to the Super Bowl, but I kind of like to have one win and not 4 straight losses, just saying. But, I mean, at least you had an opportunity to cheer and watch your team bring home the Vince Lombardi trophy.
I'll tell you, there's a because I've experienced the World Series in 15, Super Bowl last year. There is a huge difference in rooting for your team in a World Series compared to Super Bowl, because World Series, you're drawn out. So your excitement level is like a
day to day, up and down.
And then in the Super Bowl, you got 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It hits you a lot harder when you win a Super Bowl. World Series, it's like you're excited, but it's like I've been excited for a couple weeks.
There's a much greater sense of accomplishment when you win the World Series, because you've gone through a lot of stuff during the course of a season.
But in the same extent, there's more elation when you win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And this is where a lot of people will sit back and say football is the preferable sports, because we live in a gotta have it now society, and there is nothing more gotta have it now than a one game winner take all.
Right.
That is the epitome of gotta have it now. And that's why football is so in tune to America, because America is now the gotta have it now society, where baseball, way back in the day, there was a more leisurely style in America. We didn't have hustle bustle. We just didn't have that lifestyle. For better or for worse, we didn't have that lifestyle, and now we have a much more lifestyle where it's got to have it now. We are impatient as a society. We need everything to be, microwaves are our best friends. Because, if you want your food and do you want to put it in the oven and wait 10 or 15 minutes, or do you want the food 1 minute in the microwave, it's done? Give me the microwave. I need to have the food. I'm hungry. I need it now. We had a leisurely society 60, 70 years ago, and that's why baseball was so popular. It was America's pastime. And it's still revered as a great game. It's just the people of today can't seem to grasp well, okay, I'm not getting instant gratification out of this. You're seeing a game, but that's just one out of 162 games. And okay, now you're telling me we have a best of 5 or a best of 7 series. It's kind of long and drawn out. I don't know if I want to be invested in this. And then the game itself doesn't have a time clock because time clocks are for the society of got to have it now, got to have it now. And baseball doesn't have that time clock. And we are now seeing what baseball is like with a time clock. And I don't want to be any part of that game because I broadcast 2 games last night in which both of them didn't end because of the 2-hour time limit. I don't want to be anywhere part of a society that puts a time clock on the game of baseball. That was beyond stupid.
The only clock that I would even accept in baseball is the pitch clock and clock between innings.
Yeah, and we've said this, that's dictated by the commercials played.
Right.
And you do a minute and a half. Surely you can have your team go out on the field, get the warm-up pitches, and get everything done within a minute and a half, maybe a minute and 40, and you're ready to start the next inning.
Yes, you can, but quit calling me Shirley.
Oh, Lordy. On that note, we're going to take a timeout. Good Lord. Anthony with the mic drop. All right, we're back in a bit. 330-886-0813. It's a phone-in Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Back in a bit.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Friday night, it's fresh limousine. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, like I'm living the dream. Platform shoes, strut down the street. It's gonna get hot here, I hope you can handle the heat.
Over the years, you watched us grow, and as we've grown, so has the Myers Family Insurance team.
Thanks to all of you who have trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come. So call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
It's a Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. I have not had one of these...
Ice Pops.
Yeah. I haven't had an ice pop in years. And damn, these things are addicting.
Get it. But by the way, that noise in the mic is kind of creepy.
Almost as creepy as the Halloween music. All All right.
The only thing that I wish I would have popped on during the air, because that would have been, so the audience could have heard just how random and frightening it was to all of a sudden hear. Like I said on Wednesday, it's one of the most spine-chilling musical scores I've ever heard, but it's only 4 notes. John Carpenter, genius with that.
No, John Carpenter was a flat-out genius. He and John Williams both. Whoever puts a score together that has the just real intense type of music,
right?
Yeah, that you got my undying respect for sure. All right, now I got to ask, because we'll talk about anything on this show. Man, that's addicting. Best movie villain.
Best movie villain.
Freddy Krueger. Is he on your list?
Nah, I'm not scared of a dude in a Christmas sweater with knives for fingers. Especially when he's a pedophile.
That movie scared the crap out of me.
The first movie was good because Wes Craven is the master of horror, and he does a really good job with it. But I don't know that's gonna be. I'm gonna have let's put that to the callers too. I mean, but there's been some really good ones, and not just all horror movies. There have been some good like Bond villains. I mean, Goldfinger. I mean, no, Mr. Bond, I want you to die. I mean, there are a lot of good Bond villains out there. I remember Odd Job with the top hat there was a razor that he could just throw and it would.
Oh yeah. Now we can go into who's the best Bond.
Oh well, that's
for
Sean
me,
Connery.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't beat Sean Connery.
Yeah, it's Sean Connery. Huge. Who was the one after Sean Connery? Roger Moore.
Roger Moore did it for a little bit, and then Timothy Dalton was a Bond for about two movies.
No, he was a no. Daniel Craig is pretty good.
Pierce Brosnan did about 5 of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
He had the look, but he didn't have the action star stuff. Like he looked like Bond, but I didn't believe him in like the fight scenes and the action scenes. He was suave, and he wore a suit pretty well, but I didn't really believe Pierce Brosnan. And then Daniel Craig was the opposite. Like he didn't look like Bond per se, but he did the stunts like no one else. He really sold.
Daniel Craig is pretty good.
He really sold the action.
Yeah, Daniel Craig is probably number 3 on my list because Roger Moore was solid as Bond, but no, Sean Connery is.
Yeah, you don't.
That's just ridiculous. He was good. He was solid.
Like most things, you just don't beat the original.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yes. I'm not British. I'm Scottish. 330-886-0813. Can you imagine him doing play-by-play? There's a wind in the 1-2 pitch.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss, yes. I'm starting to sound more like Bogart. How you doing there, sweetheart? There's 1-2 pitch. Yeah. Oh, God. All right.
That's why you're getting on that plane. Maybe not today.
Yeah.
Maybe not tomorrow.
But soon and for the rest of your life. Listen, all jokes aside, and I will gladly take my man card back. Casablanca is a ridiculously good movie.
It's a good film.
That's a great movie. Fantastic movie. They don't make stuff like that anymore. That's classic. Great movie. And the funny thing is, Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart couldn't stand each other.
No.
They couldn't stand each other, and here they are. I mean, they're it's clearly their acting skills are pretty solid because neither one of them could stand each other, and yet they're playing this the role is so well. It's crazy.
There's some really good classics out there that still hold up to movies that are coming out today. I mean, Hitchcock was a great. I mean, I like a lot of Hitchcock movies. North by Northwest.
Rear Window was good.
Rear Window was good.
Yeah. Jimmy Stewart with the busted leg in the wheelchair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Murder Across the Street.
Oh, Mary, don't you remember me? No, wrong movie. It's the only line that I can remember from It's a Wonderful Life, when Jimmy Stewart is dealing with the angel, and the angel's showing him what life would have been like without him, and there's his wife that is now a spinstress who is forever single and in the library and whatnot, and Jimmy Stewart's like looking at the love of his life and saying, Mary, don't you remember me? 330-886-0813. Ay. Where did we get off on the non-sports here?
You asked what the favorite movie villain is. You didn't. What's your favorite movie villain? I mean,
oh gosh, I mean, the guy who was in what the hell movie was it? Die Hard. The first one.
He was more of a. He wasn't into that. Like he's not going to fight you, but he was going to mess with you psychologically.
He and what was the movie where Clint Eastwood played a Secret Service officer?
Oh, in the line of fire.
In the Line of Fire.
That guy's he plays a lot of good villains.
He does play a lot of good villains, and he was John. He was in Rounders, which is a fantastic. If you're a fan of poker, you must see the movie Rounders. Rounders was Matt Damon was in the movie, and this guy. That I'm John, and I can't remember his last name. He played Teddy KGB, who was the guy that was basically running a illegal poker club, and Matt Damon was owed it's like $20,000 or $30,000, and he wound up getting his money back and then some by playing this guy at the end of the movie. Fantastic movie if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a poker fan, you got to see Rounders. That was a fantastic movie that came out, I don't know, about 15, 20 years ago.
Hannibal Lecter's a pretty good villain.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty good movie, too. I don't know if you want to call him a villain, though, in that movie. Because, yes, he's a serial killer. Yes, he eats people, but he doesn't work against the main character. So you might have to... I mean, Buffalo Bill's the true villain of that movie. And he's pretty creepy, too. Puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the hose again.
Yeah. Do that again. That was pretty good, Anthony.
It puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the hose again.
There you go. All right. Maybe if we did that in Sean Connery's voice, it would be even more. It'd be even put the lotion on the skin.
Mike Myers.
Yeah. This all started. All of this started, and I must admit, the stupidity in me is just mind-numbing at times. All of this started because I thought, for whatever reason, that Mike Myers played the role in Halloween. And he was the guy that was the villain in Halloween. But his character's name was Michael Myers.
Not the actor.
Not the actor. So I thought, okay, Michael Myers played by Mike Myers. That makes sense. And he kind of, if you put the hockey mask on Mike Myers, he could probably pass for this guy.
Anyone can pass for the guy who's got a white mask on.
Well, okay, fair point. I mean, it just depends on how large the guy's head is, but fair point. All right, I suppose you're right. I just had it I had it stuck in my brain that that Mike Myers was the villain in Halloween. How was I supposed to know that wasn't the case? You looked it up. What was that guy's name again?
Nick Castle.
All right. Mr. Castle, I apologize. I thought you were Mike Myers. Sorry.
Not the character from the TV show either. Don't get those two confused.
Yeah.
Because the TV show Castle. So
yeah. No. It's okay. Okay. You're giving me a hard time. That's enough of that. No, okay. At the end, this whole day has been weird, but that is the topping of stupidity for me. So I have now learned that Mike Myers was not Michael Myers in Halloween.
Nope.
Okay. I feel like part of my childhood has just vanished.
It's gone.
It's gone. You mean to tell me that? All right.
Speaking of Anthony Perkins was a fantastic villain in Psycho.
Oh yeah.
No,
the shower scene alone Hitchcock was phenomenal when it came to that stuff.
He played that role. That scene when he's sitting in the lobby with I can't remember the actress's name that played the girl, but he's surrounded by
Vivian Lee.
He's surrounded by the birds of prey that kind of tell you that this guy is gonna be messed up, but he's a boy's best friend is his mother. He just played it so well, so straight. Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm going to have nightmares of Anthony Hardwig portraying Anthony Perkins. The boy's best friend is his mother.
Yep. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Yeah. Oh boy, you're playing that part a little too well. Just
Maybe.
a little too. I think you've.
Mother?
DJ, I'm a little concerned here. I'm a little concerned for our boy here. He's playing the part of Anthony Perkins a little too good.
It's okay, because you're always going to be the one that played the parts in Grease, and that's always going to be what we today.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So
yeah, that's because that's not going to be thrown back at me.
No.
And here is a classic example of the media spinning things the wrong way. Old DJ is going to put that completely out of context where I was trying to make an analogy, and it's going to be used against me. All because of my love for Grease.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that is what it is.
It's a good movie. It's a good film.
It was, I especially like toward the end when Sandy gets a little toward the Pink Ladies type of personality instead of the Sandra Dee personality. Yeah. So it was an interesting movie, and I like the fact the inner nerd in me, Eugene, was able to throw a pie at the coach with such velocity that the coach said, "Who is that kid? I want him to pitch next year." There you go. Eugene the nerd. Hey, there you go. All right, 330-886-0813. That is the number to call. We're with you until 3 o'clock. Coming up at 2:15, we will get a preview of the Belmont.
We're going back to sports, guys.
Yeah, we are going to go back to sports, and we would like to hopefully have some sports to go back to. Would be nice if Manfred and
we also have Class B action last night that we can talk about. You
this
called
is true.
2 games, and it was 18U night, and some really good performances.
Yeah, there was
Creekside had a heck of a night. They won 2 games. They blew out Roth Brothers 12-0, and then they came back and won 7-3 later that night. So Creekside, I think they were winless on the season, so they had a good night going back and getting their first 2 wins.
And Nightline had a night to forget in the nightcap against Dura Edge. They got beaten pretty badly. 17-6 was the final score, and Dura Edge lost in their first game. And again, neither game was able to get played in the 2-hour time limit. And it is what it is. You're as the season goes along. And it's tough. I mean, especially if you've played baseball all of your life and you aren't used to a time limit, it can be difficult. And unfortunately, it was difficult when you have a time limit on a game that normally does not have a time limit. It is something that can be very very tough to do. And, as the season rolls along, hopefully kids are going to get on and off the field a lot quicker, and you can start the innings a little bit quicker. And by doing that, pretty good chance you're going to get the 2 hours in. Now, everyone likes to see a well-played game, everything's on point, but this is how much power the pitcher has. Look, if the pitcher's throwing strikes, it's going to be a fast game, especially if the defense behind him makes the plays.
Yeah, unless those strikes are being hit hard, then well, you're in trouble. You might want to go outside the strike zone a little bit.
Yeah, but if the ball is hit right at someone and you make the plays, okay, you're gonna have a quick game. No two ways about that. It'll be a fast game. But when you start throwing pitches out of the strike zone and you start falling behind, okay, now the pace of the game slows down considerably. And again, in a game that is now time constrained, you can't afford to have a slowdown effect in the game of baseball. If you want those 7 innings in within 2 hours, then it's incumbent on the team going out in the field to get on the field as quickly as possible, get the warm-up tosses, and then it's incumbent for the pitcher to be on his A game in terms of location.
And here's breaking news: the Astro Falcons are still doing their thing because they looked very sharp last night as well.
Well, I mean, look, they're just an unbelievable team.
Right. Breaking news.
They're an unbelievable team, and it's year in year out. It is the thing with the Falcons that they play great baseball, and it's not very often that you see a team struggle from the Astro Falcons, and their organization top to bottom is solid. It is. It definitely is. Hopefully, as we play out the 18-game season for everyone involved, 14U, little B, that's 16U, and then big B, which is 18U. Hopefully everyone gets their games in. Hopefully the pace quickens a lot, and we're able to get all of the games in within the 2-hour time limit. Because as I've mentioned on a number of occasions, when you put a time constraint on the game and you're dilly-dallying around, you're just hurting yourself. You're not giving your team an opportunity to get an extra at bat or have an extra half inning where you're in the field and work on your baseball. That's why it's so important for everyone to be on the same page and to get on and off the field as quickly as possible and get that inning rolling.
In Ballistics baseball, the newcomers, they had a great day yesterday too. They won 11-1. So it's nice to see some of the new teams to come in and have success as well.
So when someone wins, do they go ballistic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely ballistic.
I wonder
need some ballistic gel.
If you were to have a mascot for ballistic, how would you make a mascot for a team called Ballistic?
Well, I would have like an old Western cowboy with a 6-shooter because ballistic is bullets, but that probably would be frowned upon because you can't have weapons nowadays.
Well, now, Yosemite Sam had his weapons taken away from him, and now he's just a goofball with a mustache and a hat and talks in a very, very strange, oh, that rabbit. Yeah, that's, Yosemite Sam without the 6-shooter is just, what is he? I mean, he's just a cartoon character that looks a little strange.
Right? I mean, the whole point of Bugs Bunny adversaries are they have things that can kill him.
Yeah.
If they don't have that, then what they're gonna
Except for Marvin the Martian.
Marvin.
Yeah.
I want a good clean game now, people.
Where's my earth-shattering kaboom?
That's great.
I was looking for my kaboom. Where's my kaboom? Are all earthlings like you? Big ears, fuzzy tail?
Let's go back on the rails.
Oh, yeah, and it's back on the rails again. Good God.
Geez.
Alrighty then.
No, but like, yeah, that's the first, because ballistic is bullets, so I would, first thing that comes to mind would be like a Yosemite Sam type character with the 6-shooters. But
I hate those Astro Falcons.
right. I'm gonna shoot him right in the daggum eye.
Ooh, that Roth Brothers. 330-886-0813.
The marketing writes itself, guys.
Oh God, it's just crazy. And it's just absolutely. Who needs Mel Blanc anymore? I mean, we could do Warner Brothers cartoons, guys. Give me a call. I'll do all the voices. I thought I put it that.
The Roth brothers have a great logo with the storm cloud with the biceps that's swinging a swinging a lightning bolt.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
There you go.
Like you can do a lot of things with that.
Absolutely. And the Astro Falcons, the old Astro uniforms, which is a kind of borderline copyright infringement to the Houston Astros. But that's okay because they cheat, so you might as well give them a dose of their own medicine.
Cheat the cheaters, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all good with that. But no,
and they mix that with the Atlanta. It's the Braves A, right? Pretty much. That Falcons A. It's close.
I don't know about that.
It's close.
I don't know. I mean,
right? It's close.
Yeah, it's close.
I'm gonna look up.
It's pretty close. I mean, it's not as blatant as some of the.
There's the Braves A.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's not as blatant as some of the things that we see.
I used to get the
on the high school level.
I used to get
Let me look at that. Let me look at that Braves A again.
I always used to get the Braves A and the Alabama A mixed up.
Oh, I would say it's a little bit more than close. I'd say it's a dead ringer, except for the fact that the blue is red. That's a dead ringer.
So, little known fact about the Astro Falcons A. This is actually the first one that they used, and Don Pletcher brought it back to kind of honor the scenes in the Astro Falcons organization. So they kept the colors, the blue and orange, which are the Astros, but then they went from the Atlanta logo to what is now the Astros logo. Instead of the H in the star, it was obviously an A. So this is Pletch being Pletch and really tipping his cap, no pun intended, to the Astro organization and going back to their historic roots, which started right here in the Valley.
Yeah, long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Well, I mean, if you go to Scene Park Field 1, you have the founding fathers, of which Bob Scene Sr., Mike Goldstone, who was the owner of Fabulous Goldsteins, and boy, the matches those two teams had back in the day were crazy. Don Levy with Levy Steele. There were a couple of other dignitaries, and Gabi Moscow, who was the
Jones is on there. I can't remember the first name, but the
Bobby Jones.
Is it Bobby Jones?
Yeah. Okay. And then Gabi Moscow was the grounds crew guy for Pemberton, Ipe, which for those familiar of where Ipe is, it's no longer a field, but it was on Midlothian, still is on Midlothian. And it used to have a really nice field right on Midlothian, which now is in the middle of not a great part of the city.
Not good.
Not a good part of the city, unfortunately. And Pemberton is down Shady Run Road, which is down the street from the old 33 studios.
Mm-hmm.
And when I used to do games, and we did high school games on a Thursday, and that was the day Schwabel would bake their bread.
Oh, yeah.
And the wind would always be blowing to the direction of the bread. The smell of the bread being baked would always come into the press box at Pemberton. I blame them for my fatness.
Oh, it's their fault.
It's their fault.
Oh.
It's all their fault. Hold on a second.
Hey, is your nose growing?
It's not growing yet, so it's all good.
My goodness.
Yeah. No, it was so fun to broadcast a game from there, and then you smell the bread being, and you put that in and incorporate that into the game.
I would like to see. We talked about this the other day in the press box. I would love to see. First off, I would love to see Scene get turf. You know what I mean? And really put a stamp on being the fields. You know what I mean? Put turf at least on 1, maybe on 2, on 3, but then bringing in more fields because I think they have the availability to do it. Because 14U playing on the big fields is a little bit tough because you look at it. Very rarely does the ball get over the head of a left fielder, center fielder, right fielder, and they're playing shallow.
Yeah.
You know? So it might be one of those scenarios where, and this is a dream world, but if we could bring in more, and then I would love to see the AA League come back to Scene Park. Because if you had a couple more fields, let's say you had one more regular sized field and a couple of the smaller fields, you could have baseball glory all around the valley.
Is there really enough room for 3 more fields out there?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's. It wouldn't really be 3 more fields. It would be maybe the size of 2, maybe a little bit bigger than 2. 1 regular field and then 2 of the smaller fields.
All right.
So I mean, I don't know. I would think so. I would think they could do something. There's a lot of land going the other way. I don't know who owns it, but you look at that parking lot. And then you look going towards the train tracks. There's a lot of real estate.
That's true.
But it would be cool to have the older folk, so to speak, the Warren AA League come and play at Scene Park and have that whole thing. A lot of work, but if you had ownership over one kind of significant place more so than now, I think it'd be sweet. I think it'd really be cool.
Yeah, way back in the day, and we're talking 70s and 80s, AA League was that was competitive.
Where'd they play? Pemberton?
That was all over the place.
Okay.
They played Pemberton, they play Oakland, they play Ipe, they would play a number of other facilities in the Youngstown area, and that was a lot of guys that were really getting after it baseball-wise.
Because that was, I mean, for anybody that doesn't know the AA League, that is like your last chance. That's like, I guess not your last chance because they have like 60U leagues.
Yeah, they get a 50 and a 60U league running around here now.
But like that's like your last chance at glory, and we always make the joke that there's 3 people and all 3 of them are scouts in the stands. You know what I mean? Which never happens. Yeah, it never happens. I was promised whenever I joined my first AA League that there were scouts in the stands, and I was like, oh, okay. And we went there, and I think they were all wives. So I don't know if they were scouting like the talent on the field, or what they were scouting, or what they were scouting for. But it's fun. Like baseball is a game that it's a kid's game that is sometimes the first game you ever know. And it's the last game you want to get rid of. So it's fun. And, man, just going to Scene Park, I'm just so happy to be back. I'm so happy. There's a lot of people that, I mean, they said, oh, this year's about fun. It's about, the kids. And how long did that take before it got competitive?
About 1 game.
About a game?
Yeah.
An inning?
Yeah.
Before it turned into...
And then everyone's like, oh, yeah, we're back to normal again.
That's it. And that's all it takes. I mean, it's a competitive spirit. So I'm glad it's back. I'm glad that we're able to put on a show. We've got a ton of games tonight. We have 8 games on the network tonight starting at 5:30. And then we will have 6 games for Scene, 2 games for the Mahoning Valley High School Baseball League. So
There you go.
Gonna be fun.
Be an awful lot of fun.
Go Stros.
There's his Astros A that looks conspicuously like the Braves A.
Bravos.
Yeah, the Bravos. And there you go.
What's with all the? I hear all these. I'm trying to do work over there. Well, somebody's got to work today because I hear all these Elmer Fudd and these impressions coming
Well,
out.
we
of
haven't
here.
done Elmer Fudd yet.
Who did you do? Oh, Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite Sam. Yeah, and Foghorn Leghorn, which is my ultimate character.
It's good. That one's a good one.
Yeah.
I commented on that.
That boy, I say that boy is pixelated.
I heard Austin Powers earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like we call it phone in Friday. This could be faux pas Friday.
And the only reason why Austin Powers was brought up was because, again, my stupidity, it knows no boundaries. I thought Mike Myers was the character in Halloween. Okay, his name's Michael Myers, but I thought Mike Myers was the guy who had the mask on and was the character in Halloween. And then we brought up the Austin Powers effect, where Mike Myers pulls the mask off and goes, "I'm gonna cut you to bits and slices, yeah, baby, yeah."
There's something wrong with you, Podesta. There's something wrong
Do
with
I
you.
make you nervous, baby? Do I?
You know what? Coming to think of it, it probably would have been a really good
It would have been a cheesy character.
It would have been a really good what's the movie that made fun of it? Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Where they make fun of it.
I think that they could have a blast doing that.
That would have been funny.
And if it does come out where Halloween is spoofed to where Mike Myers is the guy playing Michael Myers, I want my freaking cut of this.
Yeah, you better get your royalties.
Because nobody could have possibly come up with this except for me.
We'll spoof it. We'll call it All Hallows Eve instead of Halloween. And then
There you go.
Look at the director over here.
Okay.
Calling shots.
Well, listen. He played Anthony Perkins just a little bit.
All right, so help me out. So I don't watch scary movies. Like I'm not a
Anthony Perkins was the lead character in Psycho.
Norman Bates in Psycho.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you got to see it. It's
No, I won't.
incredibly good.
I'm not a scary movie guy.
Yeah, it's Hitchcock is a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a scary movie guy?
I can be. I like the older ones. I think the newer ones kind of lean way too much on gore and violence. And
I know the music.
Yeah.
It's Jason.
Listen, like the new ones are the old ones. I wouldn't take a shot on. I wouldn't roll the dice on. The new ones terrify me in the commercials.
Right.
The one where like Jim from The Office was in it and he couldn't talk because if you talked like you were attacked by monsters or something. Nope. Pass. Hard pass. Not going to do that.
And if I watch that, I'm probably going to be not saying anything for a few days.
And that wouldn't bode well for your profession.
No, it wouldn't bode well at all for my profession. So.
And I'm sorry. Like I've seen the Amazon series. Was it Jack Reacher or whatever he plays?
Yeah.
I can't take him for anything but Jim from The Office.
Right.
I can't. Like he's just that fun-loving. Jim loves Pam. Like he made me cringe towards the end of the series whenever like the whole fighting thing was going on with Pam. I'm like, Jim, no, what are you doing? Stop. Like you guys are supposed to love each other. That's what it's all about. But I mean, do you believe in typecasting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
So,
it happened to Leslie Nielsen. I mean,
absolutely. He was a serious guy until Airplane came out.
Done.
And then that's it. Naked Gun? Yeah, Leslie Nielsen. Okay.
But then
he went on Johnny Carson and he's like, Johnny, I'm never going to get a serious role again.
Yeah. That's it. Game over.
And and you talk about movie actors and television actors being typecast. I think athletes are now being typecast. You know what I mean? You look at Colin Kaepernick, and it doesn't matter what he can do athletically, yes or no. There was a political climate where owners were afraid that it was going to hurt their pocketbooks, and now he will forever be typecast for no matter what he does, championship-wise. If he ever plays again, he'll always be the guy that was the guy that took a knee on the field.
Yep.
And I think that's you look at how we are as individuals and we start typecasting people. For instance, I don't know if you guys saw this, Ryan Clark came out today and defended Colin Kaepernick. And somebody asked the question about is Colin Kaepernick going to be able to pass the fitness test? And his answer was, and I don't like it. I think it's a little bit funny. Like, he made me smirk, but I was kind of like, wait a minute, that's kind of a dick move. What he did was he said, well, I watched Ben Roethlisberger pass the fitness test for 8 years. I think Colin Kaepernick will be okay. And I wanted to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's the number on that bus? 25?
Yeah.
This is coming from somebody who couldn't even. I mean,
and maybe he was a little sarcastic when he said it, but still, that's kind of a.
Well, I mean, for a. We're walking on eggshells in culture right now, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna throw haymakers at Ben Roethlisberger, who's just coming off of basically Tommy John surgery. Like, Ben didn't, for the first time in his life, Ben didn't say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we're gonna throw jabs at Ben Roethlisberger, who, by the way, looks better than he ever has. I saw pictures of him, lost like 30, 40 pounds. And
he looked better than the first time we saw him after that. Like, remember when he had the whole beard? And
when he has a beard,
that was rough.
He looks rough. But
he looked like Grizzly Adams.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Yes, he did.
That was a Happy Gilmore reference. I don't know if you got that one.
I got that
okay.
one, yeah.
But Roethlisberger, as soon as he cut his beard, like, I'm almost nervous. Like, he had it the entire time that he was off, and it's like, you don't want to tug on Superman's cape, you don't want to cut your beard, anything like that. But why do you throw that out there if you're Ryan Clark? Given the whole, I believe it was the same interview. It was all about the racial profiling and justices, and then he throws a haymaker at Ben Roethlisberger. I'm like, whoa, stop! Like, you didn't have to do that. You could have just said, hey, I've seen quarterbacks, not name any names, because Jared Lorenzen, rest in peace, was a quarterback for a long time.
Let's go with punters. I've seen punters.
I just I don't know.
He could have thrown out Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He could have thrown out a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
but
Tom
then
Brady. He's got a portly.
I just got this feeling that there's a little bit of a riff between. Let's be honest. Ryan Clark and everybody. There's a riff.
I'm sure that he probably was trying to make fun of or make light of a situation, and
but wasn't Ryan Clark the guy that couldn't play in Denver because of a skin condition or something?
A blood condition where you can't go into Denver because.
Oh yeah, he had sickle cell.
Yeah.
Like, let's not throw stones.
Yeah.
like Ben was trying to do the best he could. You're a primetime player. You can't go. But years later, you're going to throw stones at the guy that tried to help you out.
I just think he was trying to be a smart aleck and it backfired on him.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, I'm watching it right now. Just the comment section, which is my favorite place to be sometimes. And Ryan Clark doesn't stand a chance in there. Like, they are hammering him because they said the only reason that he knows that Roethlisberger passed a fitness test is because all the other quarterbacks that had receivers burn him during the year. So, I mean, Pittsburgh is pissed off at Ryan Clark right now.
Well, alrighty then.
Not that he was ever going to be a statue or anything in Pittsburgh.
There you go. Oh, Lordy. All right, we're going to be previewing the Belmont because there's a horse race on Saturday.
Are you betting on it?
I don't have any money to do that. I mean, come on, seriously? And if I did, my horse, this is my luck. My horse would trip over the starting gate, throw the jockey 10 or 20 feet, and then on its own win the race, which you're illegal
DQ,
once you have the jockey off of you.
Who is the horse that won the Kentucky Derby but was disqualified last year? I bet on him, but then he was disqualified for the instant review or whatever.
Oh yeah, the replay.
So that brings back bad memories.
I'm gonna be betting. First off, I'm gonna find the horse that has the worst odds, and I'm gonna put $20 on him
to win.
To win.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna find my real bet somewhere in there as well.
Well, the guy that I have on is really good.
Awesome.
At this.
Who is it?
My buddy Seabass down in Jackson, Tennessee.
Seabass
is going to be joining us.
Is he going to be like Tonar and come do our racing each week or every time there's I guess it's not each week.
Anytime there's a big race, I get him on.
Love it.
Because he's my go-to horse guy.
I love it. I'm excited.
Yeah. So
let's gamble away, baby.
So we're gonna tell Seabass you got $100, fictitiously $100. Spend your $100 on how you want to do this, and it's a 10-horse field. We'll get into the particulars in just a bit.
I'll put the 100 down right now, and he spends it. We'll do it.
Good Lord.
Let's do it.
Hey, Hollywood's open, so I'm just saying you can place your bet on the Belmont and Hollywood.
If Hollywood sponsors us, I'll go bet at Hollywood.
Take it up with the folks in Hollywood.
There you go.
We're going to take a timeout. On the other end, we will hear from Seabass. Stick around. Phone in Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com.
They say American craftsmanship is making a comeback. Of course, at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, it never went away.
People are floored by Baird Brothers' authentic hardwood floors. They stare at our stairs and adore our doors. Baird Brothers reflects 3 generations of family craftsmanship. Visit our huge in-stock selection in person or at BairdBrothers.com.
Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
It is Phone-In Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Belmont Stakes coming up this Saturday. And to talk a little bit about what to expect on this, the first of the Triple Crown races, not the third under normal circumstances, but in the COVID world, Belmont is now the first of the Triple Crown races. Let's bring in my boy Seabass down in Jackson, Tennessee. He is the guy that I go to when we start talking horse racing. What up, my brother?
Man, just I'd love to tell you I'm super hyped up for this big race tomorrow, but I've never been more confused and bewildered than I am for any leg of a Triple Crown. And when was the last time, if ever, that the first leg of the Triple Crown was the Belmont Stakes? Good grief.
And the other thing is, it's no longer a mile and a half. It is now a mile and an eighth. As Anthony Hardwig, my partner, has a $100 bill, and he said, tell your boy Seabass, I'm planning on spending this $100. Please tell me where I need to go.
I mean, you know, Anthony, do I have to put it on one horse? Are we going across the board? Are we putting a win ticket down? Because, I mean, look, there's a clear favorite in this race. We all know it. There's no way I'm putting a $100 bill on the chalk to win. I'll say this to you. If I'm going to play anything that's got a little, at least a little something right now, at least at the moment, Dr. Post sits at 5-1 right now. Now, a couple things working here. He's won both of his starts this year. He's a Pletcher horse. Those are all positive things. And, oh, by the way, he just happens to have Irad Ortiz on the mount. You know, 5-1, let's put it like this. In most races, he would be an overwhelming favorite, and you'd never touch anything close to 5-1. And the only horse, at least on paper, that I look at and say is probably better than, well, not probably, but definitely better than this horse is Tis the Law. You know, and I'm not taking 6 to 5. I'm just not going to put a lot of money on 6 to 5. Will I throw 6 to 5 in a try box and a super? Sure, but I'm not going to spend a $100 bill on something like Tiz
What
Law to
about
win.
a $10 box exacta on Tiz the Law and Dr. Post, and you hope and pray that Dr. Post wins the race, so you're getting more cash?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, you know, there's some people that would tell you that maybe a horse like Sol Valente is the second best horse in this race. And I don't get me wrong, I really like Luca Panici a lot, and everybody loves Patrick Biancone. You know, and he's one of those late closers, and there's a couple of them in this race. There's no doubt. I could see Sol Valente in the trifecta, the superfecta, but if I'm going an exacta, if I'm going to put it down right now, I'm going to put it on the two that I think are the two best horses in the race, and that's clearly Tiz the Law, and then objectively Dr. Post.
All right, Seabass joining us in Jackson, Tennessee, and this is a 10-horse field, and you brought up Sol Valente. Luca Panici, one of my favorite jocks. He is based out of Gulfstream and does a fantastic job. But I mean, Bass, let's be honest, he is nowhere near the status of Irad Ortiz, who is riding Dr. Post, and the fact that Dr. Post is a Pletcher horse, and you're telling me the morning line is 5-1. Now, I know this horse is not going to go off at 5-1. It's probably going to go somewhere in the vicinity of 3-1. But still, whether it's 5-1, 3-1, that's good money considering you have arguably the best jockey in Irad Ortiz, and arguably, now that Baffert doesn't have a horse in this race, the best trainer in Pletcher. I'm good with taking Dr. Post to maybe win this race, if not to pair him up with Tiz the Law in an exotic or a boxed exacta.
Yeah, I think so. And one of the things that you mentioned, Irad Ortiz. Look, you could put Irad Ortiz on a pack mule, and I'm gonna give him consideration. I mean, he's just that good. I think you and I are pretty close to the same place. I'm kind of projecting Dr. Post to go off somewhere around 7-2. So you and I are pretty much thinking the same thing. And hey, if I can spend $100 into $450 on a win ticket with Irad Ortiz, a Pletcher horse, a 10-horse stakes race, and only one horse that I consider to be better than him, I mean, I'll take that. I mean, if I can't be happy with a $350 profit, then what am I really doing here?
Exactly. There's a couple of horses that I like, but unfortunately, they're not in one case, he's not in a good position. Tap It to Win is 6-1 morning odds. And normally I would put some action on Tap It to Win because that's a good-looking horse, but the horse started off on the rail. He's gonna draw the one position. I'm not keen on this horse on the rail in this Belmont.
Well, here's what I would say about this. Look, he's early speed. Everybody knows it. If I'm going to be early speed, and remember, who's he running right next to? He's right next to Sol Valente, who does what? He's a late runner. He's going to get off late. So there's very little reason why Tap It to Win should not get out. And Velasquez knows how to ride this horse. He knows what to do here. It's interesting. Look. What's the shortest way around the track? From the one post. We all know that. And since it's only a 10-horse field, and even though it's not a mile and a half, there's still plenty of time to overcome things. Look, this horse right here, to me, is one of those who could hit the back end. But here's the other thing about this. A horse like this, Ron, is going to have a whole lot to say about who wins this race. You know what I mean? The pace is going to be so important here, and I feel like he's going to be the one that forces a very speedy opening. That first quarter fraction could be pretty quick, and he's going to be one of the reasons for that. But the quality of some of these closers, especially if they get a good pace, I just don't see Tap It to Win having enough to hold on to win this race. But I mean, if you want to put Tap It to Win in your trifecta box, your superfecta box, I certainly could understand the reasoning for that. Now, a couple of horses that I'm looking at. I know the wise guy play. I'm sure you're getting a lot of this too on your end. A lot of the wise guys are pointing towards Modernist, the Bill Mott horse.
Oh yeah,
I like.
Yeah,
I like. I really do. Didn't have the greatest trip back in the Louisiana Derby, but he's done well. Won 2 of 3 this year. But let me tell you about a horse that even though his last race out, I watched him back in April, and I remember this race. It was at Oaklawn. And if you'll remember this race, I think it was the Oaklawn Stakes is what it was. It was a stakes race. It was the Oaklawn Stakes. And Farmington Road broke from the extreme outside, broke from the 12 post. The track was crap. It was sloppy as it could be. And he got a terrible break. I mean, it's just an awful break. And what he did, he broke dead last, and then he's the extreme outside horse, and he shoots all the way down to the rail. He ends up coming from behind and ends up finishing second. You'll remember this. I can't remember the name of the horse. Something like I think it was Late Breaking News, if I remember correctly. That horse was 43-1. You remember that?
Oh, I remember this because everyone was betting on Farmington Road, and I had said, because I like pairing up the favorite with a long shot. I like doing that stuff and putting it in a box. And I was looking at that with that exact ending and saying, boy, that would have been nice if I'd have put a $5 box on the 43-1 and Farmington Road. And I didn't do it because the Racino's like a half hour from me and I didn't want to take the drive. And it wound up biting me in the ass because there's Farmington Road finishing in second to the 43-1 shot. And I looked at the exact and wanted to just puke.
I ended up winning money because I put 25 across the board on Farmington Road. I mean, I was happy to win money, but when I thought about how if this horse had only just got an average break, because he's a late runner, he's coming. Even with the sloppy track and the pace wasn't that special, he was still flying. And I'm thinking to myself, if this is a decent track or he gets a halfway decent break, he's going to win this race by a million miles instead of coming up just short to a 43-1 plug. He sits at 15-1 right now, and he didn't run well at all. He was in one of the halves of the Arkansas Derby. I think he got third or fourth or something like that. Didn't do anything impressive, but this is a capable horse, and Pletcher believes that. And when you've got Javier Castellano on the mount, you've got a shot. If I'm looking at a horse that's going to have a little bit of price on it, and I can't imagine a giant bunch of late money coming in and bringing this horse's odds way down. I mean, it's going to be double figures. I think Farmington Road sits somewhere between 12 and maybe 18-1 or something like that before it's all said and done. And to me, for a very average field, that constitutes extreme value. I mean, this horse could end up finishing last, Ron. Clearly, I mean, he's not a great horse, but if you're looking for something with a price on it that maybe has a little bit of teeth, you maybe consider that 5 Farmington Road.
Oh, I definitely have him in my superfecta. Make no mistake about that. He is definitely in my superfecta, and I just feel like it's a 2-horse race between Tiz the Law and Dr. Post. Now, you got the horse that's going to be starting on the far outside, Nomadic.
Yeah.
And he's an okay horse, but again, I don't like in the big stakes race. I don't like the horses that are starting from the far outside. Now the good news is there's only 10 horses in the Belmont, and it's not like this horse has a mountain to climb. Where if he was in the Derby in a 20-horse field, there's no way I'm betting on the 20 to win or finish in the top 3. Pneumatic is a good-looking horse. I'm not sold on his post position.
Yeah, that's the problem here. Look, he's got the King of Oaklawn on his mount tomorrow, in Ricardo Santana Jr. But I'm kind of like you. If he were somewhere else other than the 10-hole, because think about it. Look, he's going to have to use something to get from that 10 post to get where he wants. He wants to be close to the lead. I don't think he's going to outbreak Tap It to Win, but I think he's going to be up there. He's going to try to get that. And in his last race, he tired out. Look, there's quality closers in this field, and I just feel like he's going to use a little too much trying to get from that 10 post to where he wants to be, close to the front, and I think that's going to cost him in the stretch. It's one of those deals where I wouldn't be surprised if we're on the home stretch, Pneumatic could be winning or right there up there, but I just don't think that he's going to have enough to hold. If he was a 6-horse or in or something like that, I would feel a little bit different about him. Odds-wise, he's sitting right 8-9 to 1 right now. I love the jock, love the trainer, don't love the post. I'm right there with you. The post is the reason I'll probably throw him in a little something here and there, but he's not getting a whole lot of play from me.
All right, Bass, there's 3 other horses that, we glossed over one in Max Player. The 2 long shots in this, 4 Left and Jungle Runner. Now, they're in the middle, and, anything can happen when you're in the middle, and for all we know, they might have a big part in this, in that if someone provides a lot of traffic for Tiz the Law, you could be looking at an upset, because if Tiz the Law is caught up in between horses and he has nowhere to go and he's boxed in, someone's going to walk away with a lot of money, because if the favorite, and I'm going to believe that Tiz the Law is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 6-5, maybe even 4-5 when it's all said and done. If Tiz the Law doesn't win this race, there is going to be a pretty solid exacta. And if Tiz the Law is not even on the board, oh man, the exacta, the trifecta, that'll be off the charts good.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. But something will have to happen. If he gets a clean trip, he's going to be in the money. He's just better than everybody else. Look, I get it. They're animals, it's horses, and from time to time they just don't have it. But this is a very average field. And you mentioned 4 Left and Jungle Runner. These horses are filler, Mike. Good grief, Ron, at best. I can't envision. If I had to pick one of those 2, it'd be 4 Left, early speed, and having Jose on the mount. Maybe staying away from trouble. Who knows? But he's had a long layoff, and Jungle Runner has been destroyed in his last 2 races. There's just nothing to. There's just better horses that even if Tiz the Law doesn't win, it's not going to be these 2. These 2 horses should not be a factor in this race unless they mess someone else up. But as far as them finding their way onto your exacta ticket or your trifecta ticket, for me, I really don't see that. You know what really sucks about this race, dude. And again, this is supposed to be the Kentucky Derby, and that would change things. And now you may, and your listeners may not agree with this, and that's fine. I get it. But here's what I would say to you. If this field was stacked with all the big dogs, as much as I like Tiz Law, he would be my 4th choice in this race. He'd be my 4th choice.
Okay.
Listen. Maybe 3rd, but let me tell you something. The best 3-year-old in this country, without question, was Charlatan. It wouldn't have mattered because look, think about it with Charlatan, okay? Charlatan, what does he do? Is he a late runner? No. He breaks out, he gets where he wants to be. Doesn't matter the distance. He had a brand new jock on him in the Derby, right? In the Arkansas Derby. Somebody had never ridden him before. He gets out early. It's a hand ride. Now, I understand the field wasn't the greatest. He had Governor Morris in there and a couple of others. But they could have ran around that track 3 or 4 more times, and they weren't going to pass that horse. His time was significantly better than Nadal's. Look, has anything about that horse in any of his races ever shown you that any sort of distance that they might run in any leg of the Triple Crown would be an issue?
No.
And he breaks, stays out of trouble. He would be the type of horse who, let's just say, look, the Kentucky Derby would be the one that would scare me the most, clearly, because it's a 20-horse field and anything can happen. But just as Justified did, because that's who this horse reminds me of. The distance, be damned, doesn't really matter. Early speed, and can handle the longer stretches. He reminds me of Justify.
Yeah.
Yes, that's easy to say he's a Bob Baffert horse, but that's another reason to believe that. I mean, now the Kentucky Derby might have been a little bit harder, but I would have expected him to get out. But the Preakness, he's got the early speed, clearly enough to get there and stay there. And in the Belmont, like I told you, at Oaklawn, they could have ran around again and they weren't going to get him. And even if you had 20 horses in that Arkansas Derby and put all 20 of them in there, none of those horses were going to catch Charlatan. He was clearly the best 3-year-old.
Bass, why is Charlatan not in this race?
It was some type of, from what I understand, some type of injury. As far as I know, I don't know what it is. Now, I did hear there's a possibility that he could run in the Preakness, but that he would not run in the Belmont, and that he wouldn't run in the Derby, which kind of pisses me off because I put a $50 win bet on him 6 months ago on Twin Spires, and you can't cancel.
Oh, even when the horse isn't there, I mean, if the horse isn't there, you should be able to get your money back on that.
I've tried. Well, you know what? You may be able to get it on race day, but you can't do it right now. They don't even have an option for that.
Gotcha.
So maybe I'll get it back. But the other one, I put two $50 futures bets on him and one of the other two horses I'm talking about, and that's Maxfield. You know, this sucks. And everybody looks at Maxfield in that race that he just ran at Oaklawn, and they say, you know, there was nothing impressive about that. I totally disagree. If you watch that race, that trip was terrible. Remember that? I mean, yeah. He had the 10 post. The trip was rough in every way, and he timed it perfectly. We already know he's a late runner. I think we got so impressed about what he did to Governor Morris several months ago before the layoff. I mean, Governor Morris looked like he was fixing to win this race, and Maxfield had a kick on him that looked like, holy crap, you know. I mean, it was like legendary. And I think Maxfield would have been a second, if not the third best horse in this race with Nadal. Now, Tiz the Law, you know what? I'm kind of wavering a little bit on Tiz the Law when it comes to Nadal. Nadal's very impressive, clearly undefeated, had the injury. That sucks. But, I mean, to me, there was such a difference between Nadal and Charlatan. And that's why, and even though Charlatan's race in his half of the Arkansas Derby wasn't nearly as difficult as Nadal's, I mean, you all saw it. Somebody needs to explain to me why. Now, it doesn't matter now because neither one of them are running. But after those Arkansas Derbies, that Nadal was actually the Derby favorite after that. You know, and I'm like, why would you make this horse the Derby favorite when he clearly was outdone by Charlatan?
Agreed.
You know? But that was the case. I never understood that. So I would have loved to have seen a race. Ron, think about this for a second. Think about a race that could have featured Tiz the Law, Maxfield, Nadal, and Charlatan. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
That would have been the stuff legends were made of.
Yeah, it would have been a fun. It would have been a fun race, and we've mentioned the field is not exactly the greatest because we're missing a number of horses, but that tells me there's a really good chance that we're going to expect the unexpected here. I'm not sold, even though Tiz the Law has the overwhelming numbers. I'm not sold he wins this race.
No, but you know, here's what I will say. Even though the monetary side of me doesn't want him to win it, you know, the monetary side of me wants either Farmington Road or Dr. Post to win. But here's what I would say: he is truly the only horse in this field that could have any possibility of getting to Louisville with a chance to win the Triple Crown. And think about this. I mean, let's just say Tiz the Law doesn't win this race. Just whoever wins this race. And then whoever wins this race goes to the Preakness and doesn't win. You're looking at the most anticlimactic Kentucky Derby maybe ever.
This is true. Yeah, you know. And it's unfortunate, you know, and again, in the COVID world in which we live in, everything is backwards. And Belmont, which was normally 1.5 miles, is now 1.1 miles. So the closers don't get the full effect of being a closer in this race. The Belmont is now the first in the Triple Crown. And you're right. I mean, if the Kentucky Derby is going to be a snooze fest unless someone is looking to win the Triple Crown. Otherwise, Kentucky Derby is just another race like Belmont has been for most of the 100-plus years, unless we have someone that is right there in line to win the Triple Crown.
Yeah, and honestly, really, Tis the Law is the only horse that fits that bill. I think. You never know, but I mean, like if a Dr. Post or so one of these other horses wins, I suppose it's possible that they could. But I mean, think about it. Look, nobody really likes the early speed here. They just don't. And now, and remember something else. Now you have to remember one other thing. Everybody always thinks that, well, it's the 1.5 miles, and that absolutely favors the normal Belmont, favors the closer. But if you've watched that race over the years, that more often than not, that's not true. Now, we have had examples of it, clearly. You think about Silver Charm,
Sure.
trying to hold on. But I've put it to you like this. With Justify, I would say, well, that's great, but, what happens when he has to go 1.5 miles? Because if you remember, he nearly got caught in the Preakness, which is way shorter. So everybody thought, okay, well, now you tack on that extra distance. There's just no way Justify can hold on. Justify cruised.
This is true.
So you don't always, just because you got those closers sometimes, and in that long stretch, man, when these horses, some of the better horses, when they get that, they got that nose out in front and they feel it, and there's nobody right there on their quarters, man, they stay with it, even when normally, that's probably not their best deal, and the distance a little more than they would normally like. Sometimes those closers just don't kick in the way you hope they will. Maybe sometimes they get a little dirt in their face and they get pissed off, whatever the case may be. But with this distance changing back from 1/2 to 1/8, I'm not going to say all bets are off for closers, but the best horses in this race are the late runners.
All right, let's make some people some money. Let's go exacta, trifecta, and superfecta. Who do you got, Bass?
This really sucks, Ron, because you're going to make me say something I don't plan on backing up with my wallet.
Okay.
And that's this. How do I? Tislaw's best horse in this race. He just is. So it's hard for me to put somebody else on top here, and I like Manny Franco anyway. So, as boring as it is, I'll go with the chalk here. Not something I generally like to do or want to do. But what you got to hope is that somehow Tis the Law were to go off at like a 5-2 or something like that, which I don't foresee, but you never know. And then the horse that you and I talked about earlier, my exact is 8-9. It's Tis the Law with Dr. Post, but for my third, I'm taking Farmington Road. Now, I'm leaving out a lot of pace. That sucks, and I got to find some pace somewhere. So what I'll do is I'll take the shortest trip around the track, take John Velasquez, and get Tappet to win, who I think, I don't know, man, I think maybe he holds on for fourth. So I'm looking at something along the lines of an 8-9-5-1, which is Tis the Law, Dr. Post, Farmington Road on top of Tappet to win. And I know Sola Valente, I get it, Luca Panici, somebody's got to be out. I'm trying to make a little bit of money for somebody, and that's the way to do it, by leaving out the 9-2.
And here's the thing, and for folks that are wanting to get a little creative, of course you can spend a dime or 20 cents and do the superfecta exactly 8-9-5-1. But if you want to get creative and do it boxed, a 10-cent boxed bet is $2.40. If it's 20 cents, it's $4.80. If it's 40 cents, it's $9.60. And the closer you get to $1, the more money you're going to be making on an exacta. And then your hope is Farmington Road or Dr. Post pulls off an upset, and Tis the Law winds up second or third. The further back he goes, and by the way, I agree with you. I think the 4 horses, not in order. The 1, Tappet to win, which is 6-1. Farmington Road, the 5 horse at 15-1. Tis the Law, the 8 horse at 6-5, and Dr. Post, the 9 horse at 5-1. Those are the 4 horses that I would mix and match with in a superfecta. And again, if you want to spend all your money on a superfecta, if you have a lot of confidence that these are the 4 horses, box it, and you can win a pretty good amount of money if those are the 4 horses that come in.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just tell you right now, I don't love this race, Ron. I don't. It's a fairly hard race to handicap, to be honest with you. But if I got to pick 4, that's going to be it. But like I said, if I'm going to play something with some teeth, and I don't want to put a whole bunch of horses. See, that's where the danger comes in. When you start playing 3, 4 horses, stuff like that, 5 horse try boxes, and all this other stuff. All it takes is one plug to get in there, and it blows up the whole thing. Here's what I would say. And do I think he's the best horse? No. But a 20 across the board on Farmington Road would pay you quite well.
Yes, he would.
That $60 investment would probably net you no less than about $500-600.
This is true. Anthony has, and pick the bill up. Anthony has a $100 bill. So if you're Anthony and you have the $100, how do you spend the $100?
I'm they say a trifecta's a sucker, man. I don't agree with that, but here's what I might do. Here's what I'm going to do. I would do this. I would say if I'm Anthony, I'm going to do a $1 try box with the 1459. What do I got left? $76.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got $76 left. I'm going to do a $30 win place on Farmington Road. $30 win place. Where am I at now? I'm at 84.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm going to do a $2 exacta box, and here's where I'm going to have to get a little tricky, a little bit creative here. I'm going to do a $2 exacta box that's going to leave Tap It to Win, that's going to leave Tis the Law out. So here's what I might do. This is when I start taking those 2nd and 3rd and 4th horses on a $2 exacta, leaving Tis the Law out that would still have enough teeth to pay me a little something and get me my money back plus something. So that's where I might do a $2 exacta box, which is going to be $12. That's going to be Dr. Post from the 9,
okay.
Modernist, somebody we hadn't put in our box yet here who has
4.
a shot.
Okay.
And throw him in there with Sola Valente. We got to play him at least somewhere in this Benjamin. So any one of those on the $2 exacta is going to pay you, I feel, at least over $100.
Okay, and that turns out to $12, correct?
Right.
Okay, so you have $4 left.
Yeah, $4. I'm gonna go buy me a hamburger and watch the race.
There you go. Hey, Bass, before we let you go, I mean, look, and for those that have never heard him, when I used to do sports rap, Bass is a huge baseball fan, huge San Diego Padres fan. I blasted the Players Association for passing on what should have been a no-brainer, and I've blasted Rob Manfred from the time this whole stuff happened. Bass, as far as I'm concerned, both of these entities have just bothered me to the point where I don't even care anymore if baseball plays this year.
I want to be at that place, but when you do a nightly sports talk show and you haven't had sports in 4 months, I need, plus, I mean, look, I'm right there with you. The proposal was what, 60 games?
60 games, full rated pay.
And you balked to give the number 70? Now, I get it if you were balking to try to make it to 100 games or something like that. But we're really hanging up over 10 games here?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing?
Exactly. It's just driving me nuts at this point. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of Rob Manfred, you know that, but I mean, at least he had an olive branch and said, look, here's 60 games. We're going to give you everything you want. The DH is going to be no longer in 2020 and 2021. Expanded playoffs for 2020 and 2021. I don't know. I on what planet do these players think they're going to get a better offer? They're just not.
They're not. I mean, as you mentioned with the DH, over half the teams in the league making the playoffs. You know, I just don't understand what the 10-game hang-up is. You know, if you would have told me a month ago that we're going to get this close and 10 games are going to be the difference, I never would have believed it. Now, I got to say this real quick. Your boys broke my heart last week. Broke my heart because I was so happy. There was less than 10 picks left in the draft, and I was like, okay, he's going to stay. He's not going to get picked. And my Commodore's rotation is going to feature, Kamar Rocker, Jack Leiter, and Mason Hickman, which would have been by far, hell, that might have been by the best rotation in minor league baseball, much less college baseball. Let me tell you what you got in Mason Hickman, man. Your Indians. Boy, you hurt me right there. Because here's the thing, and here's why I know he's going to go. I don't think he's signed yet, but I have no reason to believe that he won't, okay? Because if you look at Mason Hickman's numbers, Ron, he can't do any better. There's nothing for him to prove. He could go out and go 12-1, and he's probably going to go about where he went this time. I mean, they have seen all they need to see. He is not a front-line starter. This is not a 1. The numbers look like it is, but he's not, and I understand that. Mason's probably a 3 or 4, something like that. You know, but his numbers, you go and look at him at Vanderbilt, I mean, he's just been rock solid for 3 straight years. Just boom, boom, boom. And even through all those numbers, the projections just aren't there for him to go any higher. So, you know, Ron, I think that is slotted at, what, 300,000 or something like that? If I'm Mason Hickman, to me, there is no reason for me to go back to Nashville and put another 1,000-plus pitches on my arm. Because I'm not going to get into the 2nd or 3rd round. I'm not even in the 4th. And best I can do, I maybe creep up from the 5th to the 4th. The scouts know who he is. These teams know who he is. He's not going to change from what he is right now. I say take him. I say take the money and go right now. As bad as that hurts me, because that's the difference between that and $20,000. With just a few other picks. I think you got a very good pitcher, and I can't imagine him coming back to Nashville.
Yeah, let's not confuse him with Mackenzie Gore, who is going to be an absolute stud. I mean, the San Diego Padres, they got Mackenzie Gore, and I saw him play in the Futures game in the All-Star Weekend, and he was not on his A game and still looked like a ace waiting to happen, even though he wasn't anywhere close to his A game. But you could see that he had all of the stuff, and he's just going to be unbelievable.
Yeah. You're talking about the number 1 pitching prospect in all of baseball. But think about this for a second, Ron, and for your baseball junkies. Yes, I'm a Padres fan, and I admit that. But listen to what this rotation could look like in, let's say, 2023. You ready for this? How about Mackenzie Gore, Luis Patino, who's a top 25 prospect in all of baseball, Chris Paddock, Dinelson Lamet, and let's not forget, they pulled a fast one here and took Robert Hassel instead of Veen at 8. Why did they do that? Look, Veen's great. There's no doubt that he's going to hit a ton in Colorado. We all know that. But Hassel A is not far behind. He was slotted somewhere 12 to 16. Well, the Padres were genius with what they did, and they did some underslotting, and they took Cole Wilcox at 80. At 80, Ron, this is a first-round pitcher that slipped a little bit, and at 80, and everybody said, well, what a wasted pick. But if you look at the money, and look at A.J. Preller, and they did this because they fully believe they have the ability to make that happen. And do you realize what a rotation of Gore, Patino, Paddock, Lamet, and Wilcox would look like?
if all of them live up to capabilities and they all get out of minor league baseball, and again, you're talking about a best case scenario. If they're all in the major leagues, oh yeah, you got a hell of a rotation. Now, you know as well as I do that the best laid plans don't always happen, and there will be one or two of those kids that probably won't max out to where the scouts believe they can max out. But I got news for anyone. Any rotation that has Mackenzie Gore in it has a very, very solid left-handed pitcher, and he just makes every rotation that much better. And yeah, I understand he has not played in the major leagues yet, but you know the goods when you see it. I saw Clayton Kershaw pitch in Double-A ball in Jackson, and Mackenzie Gore is every bit as good a pitcher in minor league baseball as Clayton Kershaw was, and that's saying something because Clayton Kershaw, and we both lived in a Southern League market, Clayton Kershaw was an absolute stud in Double-A ball in the Southern League. Mackenzie Gore is every bit the pitcher Clayton Kershaw is in the minors.
I mean, you know, he will graduate this year. You know, I mean, would he have made it right out of camp? I don't know. You know, that I'm not sure, but I know he was close. But they will see him this year. And the wild card, as you remember in that Futures game a year or so ago, Patino came in and retired. I think struck out the side.
Yes, he did.
You remember that? Yeah. And he was the most impressive pitcher in that thing.
Yeah, he was.
And he might be the 4 in that rotation. So you know, we'll see.
Thought.
I mean. Lot to do between now and then, but lots to look forward to. But I think your boys up there in Ohio got them a nice one in Mason Hickman.
You know, and before we let you go, I mean, obviously Jackson was going to be the site of the Southern League All-Star Game, and no Major League Baseball equals no minor league baseball. This is a city that is on the precipice of losing their minor league baseball team. The attendance has never been that good outside of the first few years in Jackson. What is the mood like in Jackson? Is everyone reserved to the fact that their organization, their minor league team is going to be taken away? How are things down there?
There are plenty of people who are mad, but you know, there's some other circumstances going on between them and the city, and some funds and all this other stuff that I know you've heard about that are kind of taken away from that. But the expectation is they're going to lose this franchise, you know. And what will they do with that? Will they turn this into a full concert venue? We got Snoop Dogg coming next month. Will it be some kind of I don't know, some independent league? I'm not really sure, but I think they've kind of resigned themselves to the fact that they're going to lose it. And you know what? Look, it's minor league baseball, so the one thing that we have to understand going in is that attendance is not predicated on how good your baseball team is.
That's true. Otherwise, the 2005 team, which was the best team in Double-A ball, we should have had all kinds of people at Pringles Park, and unfortunately, we didn't have anybody.
Well, they've won 3 of the last 4 Southern League championships. I mean, it's the Southern League run.
Yeah.
It's the Southern League, and they've won 3 of the last 4 championships, and nobody goes to games unless they're popping fireworks.
Good Lord. That's sad.
But people are going to do what they do, you know. I mean, but the truth of the matter is that everything's relative. It's just like any of these teams in these major markets. You know, if you look at percentages, it's not really that different. You know, just because the town is smaller, think, oh, well, there's nothing else to do. Well, people have lives to live. And, you know, in the middle of summertime on a Tuesday night when it's 94 degrees outside, they don't feel like having their clothes stick to them.
This is true. And you know, $2 ticket, $2 hot dog, $2 popcorn. That's not going to convince someone to go out in 95-degree weather with 175% humidity to invest and go to a ball game because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and look, the last two organizations who to call this place home are the Mariners and the D-backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we just don't have a lot of either. And look, especially the Mariners. The Mariners were fantastically ran, you know, but there are no Mariner fans here.
No.
You know, I mean, and think about it, Doug. This is, for those of you who don't know, you might think this is a Braves market. It is not. It is a Cardinals market. We have Braves fans here, we have Cubs fans here, but this is a completely dominated Cardinals market. Well, 65 miles down the road, the AAA Cardinals play, in Memphis, the Redbirds. So if you're looking to see prospects, you can just go down the road. We don't really have that here. Not a whole lot of people looking to keep up with the Diamondbacks prospects.
And unfortunately, the Cardinals are no longer in the Southern League. They're in the Texas League, so that even takes it further. Now, you can appease the Braves and the Cubs fans because Mississippi is the AA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves, and Knoxville, the Tennessee Smokies, are the AA affiliate of the Cubs. So when they come to town, the Cubs and Braves fans come to the games. But, again, it's tough. It's really tough.
It is, and I'll just say this, and baseball needs to get its ass together because, think about this for a second. Look, it's bad enough, all the people that you ticked off with cutting these, 42, 43 teams?
42 teams, yeah.
42 teams, and now you're quibbling like this, over, in the time of a worldwide pandemic, and you're quibbling over 10 games. They're ticking a lot of people off. I think they believe that they've got you, that you'll do whatever they say. You'll take whatever you can get. And I'm telling you, baseball doesn't realize that things have changed.
Yeah.
They have, and you can't operate that way now. You can't assume that everybody's just coming back and that you can treat them and operate however you want to, because I think what's going to happen is they're going to find they're way wrong about that. And I'm really hoping they don't take that chance and push it as far as it can go, because I think they're not going to like the reaction.
Agreed. Bass, we're going to get going. Thanks a lot, and look forward to hopefully seeing you sometime down the road, brother.
Bring your butt on down here, son. We got stuff to do.
Amen to that, my brother. Be good.
Thank you, man.
All right, see you. There he goes, off into the afternoon, Seabass from Jackson, Tennessee. Did you take the notes?
I did, and I saw you taking I took mental notes. You took physical notes.
All right. Well, now he's got the 8, 9, the 5, and the 1. So
right.
You may want to you may want to instead of buying the hamburger, you may want to go 10 cent or 20 cent superfecta box on that, and that should get you to $100.
But then I want to have a meal.
Well, that's true. We'll go ask DJ for some money. Yeah, he'll give you some. He We'll see if he took
He's
some
my only source
notes.
of income, so we better get.
Well, this is true. Yeah, you'd better get some money that way. Hey, that's going to do it for the show.
Hey.
Thank you very, very much
Reminder,
for all the calls.
Full Court Press comes on at 4.
Indeed.
Jeff Brazil.
Yes,
Brian Higgins.
we are under an hour away from the premiere of Full Court Press. Tune in about an hour from now, actually 59 minutes from now. Jeff Brazil, former head basketball coach at McDonald, his sidekick, Brian Higgins. They are the co-hosts of YSN's newest show, Full Court Press. That is coming up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That is going to be must-hear YSNlive.com stuff. No doubt. All right, we're out of here. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will talk on Monday. And who knows, maybe Anthony has that $100 bill turning into
it might be like
a
this.
lot of $100 bills.
I'll be doing some of this.
Yeah, raining Benjamins in the YSN studios. All right, we're out of here for the weekend. Have a great weekend, everyone. See ya.